If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description. Additionally, if you would like to request novels and access my Google Drive where I have 200 plus audiobooks, then you can join my Patreon. Link is also provided in the description.
Chapter 61, Aoki vs Alex -1. Flannery Gym. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first official gym match of Flannery City, a person from the league announced. The audience, which filled the entire gym stadium, cheered loudly. The light focused on two different spots of the stadium as Alex and Aoki entered the stage. On the left, we have gym leader Alex, who is the pride of our city, while on the right we have challenger Aoki, who has challenged Alex to use his original Pokemon. This announcement made the crowd cheer even louder. Alex in a confident smile while Aoki had a relaxed face. The battlefield they were going to fight was a rock field similar to Pewter Gym. Begin, the referee announced as both Aoki and Alex released their Pokemon. On the side of Alex, a 1.7 m tall bipedal Pokemon appeared and released a roar. It was the final form of Yoto Royal Starter, Typhlosion. Typhlosion is a mustelid Pokemon with a bulky, yet long, and agile body. It is classified as a quadruped, but it is capable of bipedal movement. Most of its body is cream-colored, but its back and the top of its head are a dark green-blue. It has a short, rounded snout and small, triangular eyes and ears. When its mouth is open, its sharp canine teeth and thick tongue are visible. Each of its paws has 5 digits and there is a coarse, spiky fringe of fur along its rear. Across the back of its neck, there are several red spots that can produce fire. On the side of Aoki, Nidorino appeared on the field and locked his eyes with Typhlosion. The Pokemon released their energy, making them understand each other's strengths to a degree. Aoki, with his high energy sensitivity, assessed that Typhlosion was in master rank. Although the total amount of energy in Typhlosion was more than Nidorino in terms, the density and quality of Nidorino were better than in Typhlosion. Let's go Typhlosion, sunny day. Typhlosion released another roar and sent an orb of energy from its mouth into the air that further illuminated the already illuminated battlefield. Nidorino shortened the distance and used focus energy. Nidorino kicked the ground and dashed towards Typhlosion. On the command of Alex, Typhlosion used flamethrower on the incoming Nidorino. Nidorino jumped and rotated his body like a drill, getting through the flamethrower. Nidorino horn attack. Typhlosion brick break. The horn of Nidorino and the arm of Typhlosion clashed, creating a mini shockwave. Nidorino gritted his teeth with pain as the fighting type energy of brick break dominated the exchange. Nidorino water pulse. Such a close-range water pulse was bad for Typhlosion, so Alex immediately gave a command. Typhlosion fire blast. Boom. The clash of two opposite energy caused an explosion, sliding Typhlosion a few meters back and Nidorino even further. Alex was shocked to see Nidorino unchanged after such a powerful fire blast. Just as the fire blast was about to hit Nidorino, he had used Protect to mostly tank the damage while the rest of the flames were extinguished by water pulse. The intense battle continued for the next 5 minutes, in which both the Pokemons took damage, but Nidorino took more damage as Typhlosion spammed a lot of fire-type moves like a Flame Wheel, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, and flames from a fully evolved Pokemon was no joke. Although it was risky, Aoki made Nidorino fight mostly in close combat to get Typhlosion. As soon as that was done, he switched to long-range attacks and time stalling. Alex realized what had happened and started to make big moves to end the battle quickly. From the beginning, he knew that Nidorino didn't have any moves that could deal a lot of damage to his Typhlosion, so he took it easy, but he regretted that decision. Although Nidorino was weaker in terms of firepower, he was more agile and difficult to hit, which made it difficult for Alex. Typhlosion earthquake. Typhlosion kicked the ground with all his power and released ground energy into it. Although earthquake should have ended the battle, but it didn't. Nidorino and Aoki had created a new technique against moves like earthquakes by using earth power. Each time Nidorino stepped on the ground, he used small-scale earth power to create an explosion that would propel him into the air, making him dodge various moves. This is exactly what made Nidorino survive till now and dodge most of Typhlosion's attacks. Typhlosion stopped him from moving, use flame charge and overheat. Flames covered the body of Typhlosion as he increased his speed and charged toward Nidorino. Nidorino blizzard and thunderbolt. A wave of hot flames erupted from the body of Typhlosion while ice-type energy erupted from Nidorino while the thunderbolt hit Typhlosion. The heat from the fire-type move turned the ice into a vapor that surrounded both the Pokemon. Typhlosion used Flamethrower on Nidorino in the low visibility and missed, but Nidorino took the chance and released poison into the surroundings, increasing the effect of poison running through Typhlosion. Typhlosion, get out of there quickly. Typhlosion got out of the poisonous area, but not before getting hit by a sludge bomb. Nidorino did not use Water Pulse as Fire-type Pokémon have a natural instinct to detect Water-type moves, so it would have revealed his location. This guy's Pokémon is not simple, Alex concluded. Typhlosion use Eruption. The fire on the back of Typhlosion burst out with flames and a large number of explosives started falling all over the field. Here comes another big move. Just as Aoki predicted from their play style of Alex, Typhlosion mostly depended on his destructive power to crush the opponent, not making many movements. That strategy was not bad, as Aoki could tell that Alex had trained his T-Potion in making the power of fire attacks strong and accurate. Nidorino Poison Coat and Poison Sphere, destroy him. That must be his original move, but I don't think it can do much damage, thought Alex. Winning the Pokémon League and becoming a gym leader had made him a bit arrogant, so he started underestimating new trainers. Aoki understood his strategy and made plans accordingly. Somewhere among the audience, a pink-haired woman was a bit angry with the performance of the gym leader. This idiot! His attitude of underestimating others never goes, which makes him go easy on people. This attitude as a gym leader is harmful, as we are expected to give our best against trainers with more than 3 badges for our reputation and the league's reputation. Moreover, this trainer is not normal, his skills in commanding doesn't match with his age at all. She was Alex's mother, who was the gym leader of the unofficial, now official, gym of Flannery City for the last 10 years. Jill looked at the woman and had a chill down her spine. Damn, she is angry. Alex is going to get chewed out tonight by his mom. The move Eruption had a very large area of damage, but it had one disadvantage: the Pokémon becomes immobile for the duration of the attack. Nidorino, who had undergone very tough training, dodged an energy attack from the Eruption and reached Typhlosion within a few seconds and smalled the high-speed rotating ball of poison. Just as the poison sphere hit Typhlosion near his chest, Nidorino focused on the ground and used one of his strongest moves that he had trained to execute at his fastest speed, Earth Power. Boom! The dual attack from Poison Sphere and Earth Power severely damaged Typhlosion as he crashed into a nearby rock, roaring with pain. Nidorino Water Pulse and Thunderbolt combo. The horn of Nidorino sparked with electricity as rings of water hovered around it, becoming charged. His was a dangerous move to execute, as the electricity will electrocute the Pokémon itself if not controlled properly. Aoki still remembers how many times Nidorino got electrocuted and got his face exploded while finding out the exact amount of electricity required. Alex was shocked by the outcome and commanded Typhlosion to move and use the flamethrower. Typhlosion opened his mouth, but only a wisp of flames came out, taking the chance. Nidorino hit Typhlosion with the combination of Water Pulse and Thunderbolt. Realization hit Alex when he remembered the attack on the chest. Most of the flame attacks his Pokémon knew depended on his lungs, which now had taken damage. All these back-to-back attacks had brought Typhlosion low on health. Currently, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, and Hyper Beam could not be used. Moreover, Eruption was on a cooldown. Typhlosion used Stand Rock Tomb and Shadow Claw. A rock seal formed around Nidorino, blocking him from moving, during which Typhlosion moved towards him to attack with a Shadow Claw. Aoki smirked and said, "Nidorino, finish him, use Hyper Beam." Boom! Hyper Beam of Nidorino destroyed the rock tomb and hit Typhlosion, crashing him to the gym wall. The entire stadium went silent, seeing their beloved gym leader lose one of his Pokémon. The referee looked at the condition of Typhlosion and announced the results. Typhlosion has lost combat capability, Nidorino wins. Chapter 62, Aoki vs Alex -2. Minimal movement but devastating damage. This was the main tactic that Alex uses. It is a good tactic where Pokémon that were good at special attacks use their full potential without using too much stamina. After the first round, Alex realized that that tactic will not work against someone like Aoki. I underestimated him too much. In the crowd, Jill was surprised by the strength of Aoki's Pokémons. Misty, how strong is his Nidorino among his other Pokémons? She asked. Around 4th or 5th, Misty answered, making Jill clench her fist. After being defeated by Aoki in the finals last time, she trained her Pokémon very hard. But after today's match, she realized that the gap had widened even more. Misty ignored Jill and looked at Aoki and thought, he knows what Alex is going to do next. Aoki had already looked through the recorded matches and can understand what Alex would choose next. The first one was a heavy hitter, the second will be a flexible one that can deal with my Pokémon. He would save his strongest Pokémon for the last. Alex took out a Pokeball and called out his second Pokémon. Go Ninetales! 9E! A Ninetales appeared on the field with her tails dancing in a beautiful pattern. Peak Master Rank Female Ninetales. Just from the color of its fur, Aoki could tell that the Pokémon was very healthy. Aoki called back Nidorino as he wanted to give someone else a chance and sent out his next Pokémon. I will face speed with speed. Pre. A golden Pidgeotto around the size of a Pidgeot came out of his Pokeball, earning a surprising grasp from a lot of people as they were seeing a golden Pidgeotto for the first time. Some people even confused it for a Pidgeot due to his giant size. Why is golden? Thought Alex. Well, whatever color doesn't matter, I have to win this one and keep my pride as a gym leader and the Pokemon League winner. Ninetales, calm mind. Pidgeotto, you know what to do. Pidgey. Pidgeotto flapped his wings and turned into a blur. The next thing people saw was Ninetales' face smashed on the ground by the powerful feet of Pidgeotto. What happened? How is a Pidgeotto this fast? Something is not right. Ninetales controlled herself and used extrasensory, but Pidgeotto was already gone from her range. Ninetales' energy ball and flamethrower combo. 9 energy balls gathered on the tail of Ninetales while she fired a wave of flames all over the field. Pidgeotto Hurricane. Pidgeotto waved her powerful wings with such a force that the flamethrower was completely negated, trapping Ninetales within a tornado. Ninetales get out of the tornado with psychic powers and use overheat. The eyes of Ninetales turned blue as she used overheating to increase the temperature of the entire field to a degree that the rocks started melting. Ninetales used Dark Pulse, Fire Blast, and Flare Blitz but got equally strong wind-type attacks in return, especially the new move Wind Sphere that was made of condensed rotating wind blades. This attack had caused large damage to Ninetales. Her flames are stronger than the Typhlosion, Aoki concluded. But not enough. Even though both of their energies are in master rank, Pidgeotto is way above Ninetales in terms of speed and power. Pidgeotto Air Cutter and Double Team. Pidgey. Instantly multiple copies of Pidgeotto formed all over the field and released Air Cutter at Ninetales. Ninetales with psychic powers somehow managed to distinguish the real one, but all her attacks were either getting negated or didn't hit. Alex was completely baffled by the speed and power of the Pidgeotto. He knew the destructive power his Pokémon held by those attacks getting negated by such strong wind or completely missing was making all the effort meaningless. Fortunately, the roof of the stadium was fireproof or it would have been destroyed by now. The fight continued with Ninetales increasing the speed of her attacks over time, which made some of her attacks connect, dealing damage to Pidgeotto, but it was not enough to take him down. Pidgeotto was going all out against her opponent. With constant training under Clefairy's full power gravity and Aoki's food had made her reach a speed no Pidgeotto could attain. Continuously fighting against fire-type Pokémon like Charmeleon, who would use any method to take down his opponent, Pidgeotto was used to fire-type attacks and how to lessen the impact. So she knew how to break through fire blasts and flamethrowers which would otherwise deal with massive damage to her. Moreover, the new attack Wind Sphere was a huge boost to her attack power. Let's end this, Pidgeotto, brave bird. Pidgeotto's body was enveloped in a blue glow as she instantly reached near Ninetales, who managed to pull out Protect and Flare Blitz and somehow lessen the damage but slid back a couple of meters. She is near. Ninetales use Fire Blast. Finish the match. Pidgeotto use Giga Impact. Before Ninetales could use Fire Blast, normal type energy burst out from Pidgeotto and exploded like a bomb. The light was so bright that people had to cover their eyes. Boom! A loud explosion took place as Ninetales smashed into the wall of the gym, forming a dent. Jill covered her face with shock while Alex had a horrified expression. Ninetales is unable to battle. Pidgeotto wins, the referee announced, dumbfounded. Chapter 63, Aoki vs Alex 3. According to Pokédex, average height of Arcanine equals 1.9 m and Weepinbell equals 1 m. I don't care if I lose or win this one, I am getting my honor back, Alex thought, holding the Pokeball that was attached to his locked. Alex clicked the Pokeball and called out his last Pokémon. Hool! A 2.2 tall Arcanine appeared on the field and released a majestic roar. The audience began cheering, seeing the majestic Arcanine, which was Alex's ace. An elite level Arcanine, it would be difficult but doable. Every official gym leader had an elite level Pokémon, it depends if they want to use it or not. In the case of Misty's father David, it was his Blastoise that Aoki saw in the backyard. He saw a Golem with Brock too, but he didn't know about Surge as he revealed his. This is my starter and strongest Pokémon and my best friend who has been with me since my childhood, Alex said proudly. Based on appearance and presence, Arcanine is very healthy. Aoki could tell that Arcanine had very good control over his energy as he could not determine his rank instantly. Since you want to fight with your starter, I would do the same, Aoki called back Pidgeotto and sent out Weepinbell. A 1.7 m tall Weepinbell appeared on the field whose leaf-like arms emitted immense sharpness. The crowd, as well as Alex, were surprised by Aoki's choice, but Alex dare not underestimate any Pokémon that was coming from Aoki, moreover that was his starter. Are all his Pokémon abnormal in height, thought Alex. Normally Jill would think that Aoki was insane, but the memory of a Bellsprout thrashing every single Pokémon in the tournament was still fresh in her memory. She was surprised to see that Bellsprout hasn't become a Victory Bell yet, but Aoki must have his reasons. I wonder in how much time will Weepinbell defeat Arcanine? Thought Misty. Not for a single moment did she think that Aoki would lose. That's the level of trust she has in Aoki and his Pokémon. Arcanine immediately used Intimidate on Weepinbell, but Weepinbell phased off the effect of Intimidate, releasing his energy. The match started with Alex making the first move. Let's go! Arcanine use Extreme Speed and Aerial Ace combo. Hole! Arcanine turned into a red blur and instantly reached near Weepinbell and swiped his claws. Ting! Everything happened so fast that the crowd could not understand what happened, but Alex had a serious face. Weepinbell was still in the same position with his leaf-like arms crossed, blocking Arcanine's super-fast aerial ace that should not have been possible, as Flying-type energy should have dominated Grass-type energy. Alex could make Arcanine use Fire-type attack from a close range, but from knowing Aoki from the last two matches he was sure that Weepinbell would somehow get Arcanine poisoned. Arcanine get away and used Fire Blast. Arcanine released Fire Blast in the shape of Japanese kanji, which was more powerful than the last two Pokémon of Alex. Aoki had to admit that the power of the flames was of the same rank as that of Charmeleon. Aoki smiled and commanded, Weepinbell use Protect and Anti-Burn strategy. Weepinbell released a small cry as the screen of Protect appeared in front of him, blocking the main damage of Protect, but Fire Blast would not have been called one of the strongest Fire-type moves if it could be blocked entirely by Protect. A lot of energy from the Fire Blast was blocked by Protect, but the flames and some energy reached Weepinbell. Just as Fire Blast was about to him Weepinbell, he emitted a large amount of poison from his body, which covered his entire body and continuously flowed and entered his body like a continuous stream of water. As soon as the fire touched Weepinbell, it was evaporated by the poison. He can block one attack, but what about another? Alex looked at the confident face of Aoki. Arcanine Flamethrower followed by Fire Blast. Meanwhile, Weepinbell gave Aoki a signal by moving the plant-like structure on his head in a certain pattern. Weepinbell faced the flamethrower and used Stun Scent. Arcanine, don't let him paralyze you, burn everything. Howl! Small branches emerged from the bottom of Weepinbell as he jumped in the air and slashed his arms with such a force that it generated a slash of wind like an air cutter cutting through the flamethrower, but Weepinbell didn't dare take the Fire Blast lightly and used a mixture of Sludge Bomb and Energy Ball to face it. This Arcanine had good mastery over his moves to a degree that it felt like the two moves were connected to each other. The poison acted as a supplement to water and somewhat reduced the power of the Fire Blast, giving Weepinbell time to dodge, but Arcanine using extreme speed reached and used Fire Fang on the arm of Weepinbell, making him cry out in pain. In the span of the next second, strong poison condensed in the arms and mouth of the burning Weepinbell, which hit Arcanine, which was too close, getting him poisoned and taking damage. This made Arcanine stun for a few seconds, giving Weepinbell another hit with Grass Knot and Giga Drain. Alex didn't give any reaction to Arcanine getting poisoned as he expected that to happen. Weepinbell put off the fire by increasing the rate of flow of poison, but this made him open for a second, which Arcanine used to damage Weepinbell with the flamethrower, throwing him to another side of the field. Despite Weepinbell taking damage, Aoki's expression didn't change. He still had a confident smile. To fasten the match, Alex asked Arcanine to use Sunny Day as the earlier one had lost its effect. Weepinbell hang in there and use Leech Seed and Bullet Seed. Weepinbell put off the fire and started firing seeds at Arcanine at a speed that it had difficulty dodging, so it responded with another Fire Blast and Flamethrower combo. Alex was confused as Weepinbell only used Bullet Seed, whereas Aoki gave the command to use two moves, but a few seconds later plants grew all over the body of Arcanine, transferring a lot of energy from Arcanine to Weepinbell. Arcanine, get rid of the Leech Seed. Howl! Flame covered the entire body of Arcanine, destroying the Leech Seed. At the same time, Weepinbell reached near Arcanine using a Vine Whip as support and swung his poison-clad arms. Arcanine was about to attack, but he found that he was paralyzed. How did he get paralyzed? In that short time Arcanine was close. How many moves did Weepinbell use on him? Wondered Alex. The match was so interesting that the entire audience was quiet and not a single sound was made from their side. Arcanine used Flare Blitz. Weepinbell Solar Beam. Devastating Fire-type and Grass-type move to collide and caused a large explosion with a shockwave that made Aoki and Alex cover their eyes. If someone before this match told me a Weepinbell could pull out such strong moves, I would have never believed him, Alex thought. Aoki wanted to deal as much damage to Arcanine in a short time because he knew Arcanine has not gone all out yet. He will not do the mistake of underestimating an elite rank Pokemon, so he knows something big is coming. Alex looked at Arcanine, who was struggling, and clenched his fists. It's time to change the tide of the battle. I am not losing so easily. The light in eyes of Arcanine grew brighter as Alex commanded. Arcanine, use Fire God mode. Howl! A pillar of flame exploded out of Arcanine, sending shockwaves all around him. His energy level started rising at an incredible rate till it reached peak elite rank. The pillar of flames that had risen started to condense around him, giving him a cloak of flames. Now let's start the true final round. Chapter 64, Alex vs Aoki, 4. Aoki became serious about seeing the new form of Arcanine. Seems like the victory will not be flawless as I expected. Weepinbell, focus on defense, Aoki immediately commanded. The next instant something happened that was very surprising. Arcanine used true extreme speed. Alex had to finish the battle in under 5 minutes, as Arcanine could only maintain that form for that time. After which his energy and power level drops a lot. He was sure that Arcanine would take care of Weepinbell and Nidorino if no accidents happened, but the problem was Pidgeotto, who could somewhat rival Arcanine's speed. As soon as Alex gave out the command, Arcanine howled and disappeared from his position, leaving a trail on his path. Boom! An explosion occurred at the center of the field as Weepinbell was thrown like a ragdoll to the corner of the stadium, with Arcanine standing at the center. This speed is frightening, Aoki thought, seeing the Arcanine. The change that came in Arcanine was unexpected to Aoki. He knew that elite Pokemon were terrifying, but this caught him off guard. Weepinbell somehow managed to get himself to stay in the field by stabbing his roots into the ground, but took a lot of damage in the process, along with his body on fire. Arcanine again. Weepinbell catapult method. Boom! Another explosion occurred as Weepinbell somehow managed to dodge the attack of extreme speed, but could not handle the thing that came after that. Arcanine used Fire Fang to bit Weepinbell, throwing him into the air, and used 2 rounds of Fire Blast that Weepinbell could not protect against, bringing his health down to an absolute minimum. If not for him using Giga Drain at the time when Arcanine bit him, he would have fainted by now. Even if he was not eliminated, he was currently on fire, continuously lowering his heat, making him feel a lot of pain. Seems like Weepinbell cannot handle this level of battle yet. The power Arcanine is using must have a limit. I just have to persist. I can't let Weepinbell suffer anymore. Let's call him back after the next move. Weepinbell use Great Forest Emergence. Weepinbell somehow managed to stab his roots into the ground and initiate his last attack. Since Aoki asked him to use that move, he knew that he will soon be called back. It was very frustrating for him. For the past few seconds, he could not even touch Arcanine, and if this continued for a few seconds, he was going to lose. We can have a lot of time to prove yourself, Weepinbell, now is not the time. Against Arcanine, he needed speed. Weepinbell had fast attacks, but he cannot hold a candle to Arcanine, who was even faster than Pidgeotto. Crack! Boom! The 4 concerns and various places of the field cracked as large vines emerged from the ground and attacked Arcanine from every angle. Everyone was flabbergasted by the sheer range of attacks coming from such a small Pokemon. This was Weepinbell's special move that he began preparing from the start of the match. It was a combination of Vine Whip, superior control of Grass-type energy, understanding of plants, and a large amount of energy. Although this move was still in the development stage, it was enough to completely change the tide of the battle. One key factor of these vines was that they were filled with Poison-type energy too, which would be released when coming in contact with fire. Both Aoki's and Alex's vision was blocked from whatever was happening inside. Within a few seconds, the entire battlefield was covered with small-sized trees and vines. Weepinbell controlled the vines to come out of the forest and stood at the corner of the field. Heal yourself, Weepinbell. You have done your best. Leave the rest to others. Aoki called back Weepinbell and called out Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto, use agility and double team to get your speed to maximum. Alex clicked his tongue and asked Arcanine to use overheat. An angry grumble was emitted from Arcanine as a wave of flame burst off him, putting the entire small forest on fire. Arcanine didn't stop and started blasting Flare Blitz and Fire Blast combo recklessly all over the place, fastening the burning place. Pidgeotto, use Hurricane. A large tornado of flames was summoned that surrounded Arcanine, which intensified the effect of poison that was already in his body. Arcanine and Alex both didn't realize that poison effect until a few seconds later, when Arcanine started to show painful expression. Alex was still not aware of what was happening due to the vines. By the time Arcanine had burned most of the forest, Pidgeotto was done with her speed boost. As the camera gave a clear shot of Arcanine, Alex realized how big of trouble he was in. Shit, in this condition Arcanine would not last even 2 minutes. Arcanine used the remaining of his energy to fire very strong fire blast and other flame attacks, but Pidgeotto just dogged that at her fastest speed without confronting them. After all the boots she applied, her speed had reached a level that is equal to Arcanine, which was a shock to Alex. Arcanine used true extreme speed to just at Pidgeotto's level, but Pidgeotto was able to respond with attacks like Wind Sphere each time damaging Arcanine. Since the beginning, when Arcanine had appeared in the field, Aoki had formulated a plan to take down Alex with minimal mistakes, but some things went in unexpected directions for him to call back Weepinbell, but it worked well in the end. For a person who grew up with an Arcanine, he was aware of how dangerous they could be or how they can be exploited. Generally, it was difficult for a Pokémon like Arcanine to get poisoned from attacks due to their dense fur, but since the start, Weepinbell had been instructed to attack the bottom of his head where the most vulnerable spot of an Arcanine lay. Aoki intended to use Weepinbell's incomplete special move from the start, but he wanted Weepinbell to be the one to finish the battle. Let's end this Pidgeotto, use Giga Impact. Arcanine Flare Blitz. The two Pokémon collided, which created yet another big explosion shaking the stadium. But this time, it was Arcanine who was thrown like a ragdoll with his power-up gone, with Pidgeotto using Ruse to heal herself from the clash. The referee looked at Arcanine for a few seconds and announced the result. Arcanine is unable to battle. Gym leader Alex is out of Pokémon, challenger Aoki wins the battle. Alex still could not comprehend what happened in the last few minutes, and before he knew the battle was over, his Arcanine defeated. Almost everything was going according to plan, but he could not execute things properly. As a result, he lost his first match as a gym leader. Contrary to expectations, the audience cheered louder than ever. Who cared if Alex lost the match? All of them understood the power of his amazing Pokémon, especially Arcanine, who won people's hearts with his majestic appearance. People were happy to know that a person with such Pokémon will be leading the gym in the future. For most of them, it was their first time watching such an amazing battle that rarely happens. As this was an opening match for a gym, this match was broadcasted all over Kanto, which increased the reputation of the gym and both the trainers. Experienced trainers could point out how difficult the battle was, while new trainers gained new inspiration and ideas watching the battle. The forest fire was still up, so Aoki asked the help of Misty and Jill to put off the fire. The blast was of Jill attracted quite an attention, along with Misty's Politoed, as those were currently extremely rare. Jill was already in a daze after the battle, but the battle matched Misty's expectations. She had watched how her father's elite stage blast was fights, so she knows how the battle would proceed. After the forest was put out, Alex and Aoki shook hands as Alex presented him with the Blaze badge and the TM for Fire Blast. The fact that Aoki had none of his Pokémon eliminated was a huge achievement. As the match was telecasted, the topic of this match will be talked about for a while. Thanks for the amazing battle, Aoki. I had become too arrogant after winning the Pokémon League and needed a reminder that I am still far. Professor Oak, who was sipping cup noodles in his lab, watched the entire telecast with excitement. He never expected Weepinbell to pull out such a large move as creating such a forest. The speed of the Royal Gene Pidgeotto was faster than expected. Is this the boy you were talking about, Professor Oak? Asked the woman that was sitting beside him arranging the paperwork. She was Delia Ketchum, the mother of Ash Ketchum, who sometimes worked as an assistant for Professor Oak from others was busy. Yes, they received their starter on the same day, said Professor Oak. That's very impressive. I wonder what Ash is doing, said Delia. Ash, he told me this morning that he will be leaving Vermilion City tomorrow as he got the Thunder Badge. I have some business in Vermilion City, want to tag along and meet Ash? Oak asked. That would be excellent, Professor. This boy forgets to call his mother, said Delia. With her son and husband both on their journey, she spends most of her time with the female researchers or helping Professor Oak with paperwork. I hope Ash is doing fine. Chapter 65, What is wrong with you, Charmeleon? Average height of Bagon equals 0.6 m. The average height of Charmeleon equals 1.1 m. While Aoki was getting the gym badge, a man and a woman were watching his movements. Beside them was a Meowth dressed in proper clothes, making him look like a child from a distance. They were the infamous Team Rocket trio, known for skills in stealing, acting, scamming, etc. Unlike the anime counterpart, they had managed to steal a lot of Pokémons from their trainers, but were still a failure when they tried to catch Ash's Pikachu. After getting blasted by a thunderbolt from Ash's Pikachu, they took a break from him and successfully completed a few robberies of money and Pokémon from the weak trainers. They also stole 3 tickets to watch the gym battle. Shall we target him, James? Asked the pink-haired woman, Jessie. I don't think that will be a good idea, Jessie. You saw the power of his Pokémon, right? Our Pokémon will be defeated easily, said the blue-haired guy, James. Too bad, I liked the golden Pidgeotto Meow, said the Meowth. If our operation continues in the way it currently is, it will not be long before we have a strong force too. We can target some more trainers till then for some extra credits, said Jessie as they began leaving with the crowd. I saw a good ice cream parlor nearby, let's go there, James suggested. Sure. Unaware of what was going on with the Team Rocket trio, Aoki and Misty bid farewell and returned to their hotel. How was today's match? Asked Aoki. It was wonderful, I never expected Weepinbell to pull out that move successfully, she said. Misty had seen Weepinbell practice that moves but it was never successful and failed midway. The end result was beyond her expectation. That move was a serious bane to almost every type of Pokémon. Yet, my gamble turned out to be successful. In the night both of them gathered in the woods outside the city as Misty had a request. Her Starmie was only a few steps away from reaching master rank, so she needed Aoki to help her. Misty made Starmie absorb another water stone and some water-type energy food made by Aoki and began fighting all of Aoki's Pokémon one by one. During the fight, Aoki left his Pokémon to fight without his command and began writing the shortcomings of each Pokémon he observed in his Pokémon. He was eagerly waiting for Charmeleon and Bagon to fish, digesting the dragon fruit and loot at their changes. He had read on the web that there were instances where a Pokémon directly went from junior rank to master rank, so he was excited to see how far his Pokémon can go. For the next 4 days, Misty trained with Aoki's Pokémon, and finally, her Starmie reached master rank. Due to Aoki's Pokémons not holding back, Starmie went through a near-death battle, stimulating her inner instincts to forcefully make her grow to survive. Misty also trained her other Pokémons Azumarill, Slowpoke, and Politoed. Slowpoke was learning to combine his psychic and water powers to increase his power and accuracy, Polite was learning better weather control, while Azumarill with her navigation skills was learning to dodge attacks from all angles. Misty found that Azumarill out of all her Pokémons had the least chance to step into master rank, but she refused to give up on him and found a strategy to maximize his potential. Aoki was very proud of Misty in this aspect. Although he never helped Misty train and trained separately from her, she picked up some of his strategies from his battles and the talks they made. During these 4 days, Jill messages Misty multiple times to battle her, but Misty refused as she was busy training. One thing noteworthy that happened is that Gyarados somewhat started to listen to Aoki. From what Clefairy said, Gyarados needed more tasty food if Aoki wanted him to follow his commands. All the hard work Aoki and the other Pokémons did on Gyarados showed an effect. Clefairy and Slowpoke confirmed that the mental condition of Gyarados was almost healed. Due to this, Aoki began his experiment on Water-type and Dragon-type food, especially for Gyarados. This food was liked by all the water Pokémon so much that all of them overate and could not move for a few hours. A few days later, Aoki felt like it was time for calling out Charmeleon and Bagon. He went outside the town while Misty was near a lake. Aoki called out all his Pokémon including Gyarados. Aoki took out the Pokeball of Bagon and called him out. A red light was emitted from the Pokémon out of which Bagon materialized. As soon as Bagon opened his eyes, he ran towards Aoki and gave him a hug with a cute roar. Heavy. Aoki felt like Bagon's weight was almost increased significantly, along with his height rising to nearly 1 m. The scales on his body had become harder, along with his blue color becoming deeper. And most importantly, his energy was now in master rank. He had jumped from the beginning of intermediate rank to master rank in one go, breaking the barrier between the 2 ranks. Now Bagon needed some hard training to get used to his new body and energy to maximize the effect of Dragon Fruit. All the Pokémon congratulated Bagon on his new promotion, while Clefairy and Nidorino became jealous as they were still in intermediate rank. Bagon was feeling very good after gaining such energy and couldn't wait to try out his moves, but he didn't express it as Charmeleon was still in his Pokeball. Finally, it was time for Charmeleon. With the same expectations, he clicked the Pokeball of Charmeleon. A nearly giant, nearly 1.9 m tall Charmeleon appeared in front of everyone with his eyes closed. His body was brimming with muscles and hard scales. Most importantly, his energy went from the beginning of master rank to the peak of master rank, equal to the red Gyarados. Aoki felt something was wrong with Charmeleon. Charmeleon opened his eyes, but instead of normal eyes, they were completely red, as if overflowing with anger. He looked toward Aoki and used Dragon Rage without any warning. Instantly Clefairy used Protect in front of Aoki while Aoki moved back. "This is bad, master," Charmeleon has lost his mind. It didn't even take 1 second after the message from Clefairy reached Aoki that Charmeleon reached near Nidorino and kicked him so hard that he became in blur and crashed into the trees, breaking 5 of them before stopping. Clefairy, Pidgeotto, keep him busy. Weepinbell, prepare your strongest sleep power and stun spore. This is bad, seems like the dragon fruit made him lose his mind from too much power. He has lost control over his emotions. Bagon was first to act and fire Dragon Breath at Charmeleon, but a Dragon Breath that was twice as powerful was shot at him, completely decimating the move and smashing into Bagon. Roar! Charmeleon gave a terrifying roar as slashed his flame-clad claws at Pidgeotto that had reached near him. Pidgeotto used Protect and Hyper Beam at point-blank range, but Charmeleon fired a Fire Blast that surpassed the power of Hyper Beam at Pidgeotto. Aoki began calling Charmeleon's name multiple times while reminding him of his journey till now, but he was still attacking everyone like a crazed beast. Gyarados Hydro Pump, Aoki commanded Gyarados but got no response. Gyarados? Aoki looked at him to confirm why he didn't get any response, but was shocked to see that Gyarados was shaking with fear. A fear that came to the surface not from seeing Charmeleon rise in power but from a past trauma what activated. Chapter 66, A Way Towards the Light. Gyarados? Aoki looked at him to confirm why he didn't get any response but was shocked to see that Gyarados was shaking with fear. Boom! Another explosion rang out as Clefairy fell to the ground from Charmeleon's attack. Nidorino, who has blasted away for the second time, ran towards Charmeleon again with his poison-clad horns. Why am I doing this? I don't want this, tried to scream Charmeleon, but his body wouldn't listen to him. No matter what he tried, he would not get back his control. He absolutely hated the fact that he was trying to kill his companions. Charmeleon had released all his restraints as immense dragon-type energy that surpassed fire-type energy by a lot had started going rampant. Aoki's facial expression didn't change as he let his Pokémons quiet down Charmeleon. Meanwhile, seeing the berserk mode of Charmeleon, a painful memory surfaced in the mind of Gyarados as his vision darkened. His earliest memory belonged to a time when he was Magikarp who was caught by a fisherman boy. The boy was very happy getting a golden Magikarp and promised to make him a strong Gyarados. But happy moments don't last long, as his next memory was from the time a few people with an R logo on their shirt snatched him away from the boy after severely beating him up. Gyarados still remembers the painful cry of the boy as he was getting taken away. The Magikarp was taken to a place where he saw different Magikarps who were terrified of something. Each day he and the other Magikarps would be fed different things that made him uncomfortable and injected various things making him cry out in pain. Each day he wished that would be better dead than suffer from this torture, but still clung to the hope that he will escape one day. He got to know that he was something called a shiny because of his color and totem because of his size. There was a day when a batch of Magikarps evolved into Gyarados from the constant experiment in which the golden Magikarp evolved to a red Gyarados. That is when his torture worsened. Each day he would be injected with something that would make him lose his mind and rampage without control. One by one he watched the Gyarados that he came to know as companions fall either by the people's hands or his hands. There was a time that he finally snapped and completely lost his mind. The scientists experimenting on him deemed him a failure too and released him into the sea instead of getting rid of him. After an unknown amount of time, he opened his eyes and found that he was surrounded by a large number of Gyarados. His memories and instincts kicked in as he started attacking every other Gyarados on sight. By the time he somewhat came to his sense, he had already defeated the entire group of Gyarados and became their leader. Still, his life was full of darkness. He always imagined himself to be inside a sphere of darkness with no way out, which only worsened when he was captured by Aoki. But slowly he felt like the darkness was turning into light the more time he spent with Aoki. His cheerfulness, his love towards Pokémon, his food, everything about him made Gyarados comfortable. Although he knew that Aoki was using him to train his Pokémon, he found that his Pokémon never critically injured him. Aoki always ensured that he was having plenty of food and rest. Aoki would often spend hours talking to him about his life after resting him while his Pokémon slept on his body. For the first time in years, he felt like he had a place that he can call home. Not only Aoki, but all his Pokémons would also share their story too, like how they met Aoki and how their life was before meeting him. Today, seeing the condition of Charmeleon losing control and attacking his own companions make him remember all those memories. Gyarados felt like he was getting surrounded by darkness again, making him scared like when he was a Magikarp. "Don't be scared," Aoki's voice rang out in the ears of Gyarados. "You don't have to suffer anymore, I am here with you." Crack, the sphere of darkness cracked. "Believe in me, Gyarados, I will take you to a level that no one can harm you and what you love anymore." Crack. You just have to open your heart to me. Give me one chance to prove that I am worthy to command you. I believe in you, Gyarados, everything will be fine. Just believe in me. Crack. Shatter. The entire sphere of darkness was shattered as the light fell on the entire body of Gyarados. He looked up and saw Aoki extending his hand to follow me. Maybe this isn't so bad. Gyarados was back to his sense and found that Aoki was hugging his tail and looking at him with a confident smile. Ready to bring Charmeleon back on track? Said Aoki. Growling, Gyarados gave a light roar as if telling let's do it. Meanwhile, Charmeleon had Death Clefairy, Nidorino and Bagon a lot of damage in his berserk from using his strongest moves without restraints. The other could not use too much force against him as Charmeleon had completely abandoned all his defense and they didn't want to hurt him too badly. Pidgeotto and Weepinbell were still hanging better than the rest but they had injuries all over their bodies. Charmeleon slowly accumulated injuries but was still berserk. I don't want this, they will hate me, I don't want to be abandoned again, I don't want to kill my family, cried out Charmeleon, but his body was still in the same condition. At that moment a powerful hydro pump hit Charmeleon, who crashed into the forest, breaking several trees. Gyarados used Dragon Dance before Charmeleon attacks again. Gyarados roasted his giant body at a fast speed in a pattern activating Dragon Dance while Charmeleon balanced himself and shot towards Gyarados with a combo of Dragon Claw and Flame Claw. Gyarados used Twisted and summoned a short storm around Charmeleon, but he used Fire to spin in the opposite directions, negating the Twister. That gave enough time to Gyarados to shoot another Hydro Pump at Charmeleon, which he almost cut through with his claws, but he was hit with a Hyper Beam from Pidgeotto, making him roll to a distance. Roar! Charmeleon roared as he was about to use Fire Blast, but vines emerged from the ground, closing off his mouth and stopping all his movements. Taking the chance, Gyarados used Water Pulse, which brought Charmeleon low on health. Weepinbell was not idle and used Sleep Power and Stun Spore on Charmeleon. In spite of the danger to his life, Aoki approached Charmeleon and touched his forehead with his. Stop it, Charmeleon, calm down. Grrrrrrr! Charmeleon started to struggle. Nobody will hate you. The struggle lessened a bit. It's fine that you lost control, everyone will forgive you. The struggle lessened even more. I will never abandon you, so come back to us, Charmeleon. Tears started dropping from the eyes of Charmeleon as he stopped all his struggle and fell off from the control of the vines. You will not abandon me, right? Aoki somewhat understood the gesture and gave Charmeleon a tight hug. No, I will not abandon you. I took the responsibility to make you strong and I will fulfill you. What do you think you were doing, hey? Weepinbell slammed his leaf-like arm on the head of Charmeleon. You better apologize to everyone, said Pidgeotto as she slammed her feet on the head of Charmeleon too. You almost killed me, you bastard, said Nidorino as he slammed his horn in the stomach of Charmeleon. Bagon only watched from a distance with a smile while Clefairy started healing everyone. I am sorry everyone, it will never happen again, apologized while touching his head on the ground. Instead of getting any reply, he was tackled to the ground by a group hug. Well, somehow everything went well. Aoki sat on the floor. Somehow bringing Charmeleon under control was more stressful than the gym battle. Chapter 67, Pokemon Stats. After a long lecture from Aoki to Charmeleon, Aoki went to the place Misty was training. There he found that Misty was trying out the moves of her two Pokemons. Her Gyarados had increased from 8m to 9 meters while her Horsa had evolved to Seadra. Gyarados was now near the top of Master Rank while Seadra had neared the beginning of Master Rank, giving Misty 3 Master Rank Pokemons. The Dragon Fruit had brought miraculous changes in their Pokemon. You look more tired than usual, did something happen? Asked Misty, seeing the slight pale face of Aoki. Well, something did go wrong. And then Charmeleon finally calmed down. At least everything went well without too much harm, Misty said as Aoki laid on her lap. Misty's Pokemons heard the story, but when they heard that the red Gyarados were finally listening to Aoki, the happiest was Misty's Gyarados. That reminds me, Jill was pestering me for a battle, so I fixed a date 2 days later, said Misty. What about your gym battle? Asked Aoki. I will do that after fighting Jill. I wish to use Gyarados and Seadra, so they will need some more training. When Aoki turned on his Pokédex after returning to the hotel, he found that he had several messages from Cynthia. Did Cynthia message you too? I had turned off my Pokédex so could not respond, Aoki said. Both of them had regular conversations with Cynthia by sending pictures to each other of things they found in their adventures. Ah, Cynthia, she won a beauty contest, so she was excited to tell you about it. She wanted to show her attire to you especially, hehe. Did you capture her heart so soon? It wouldn't take long for her to send pics without clothes. Not everyone is a pervert like you, Misty. I wonder about that. Aoki started scanning all his Pokémons one by one to see how much they have improved and entered some new moves. Trainer Profile. Name, Aoki Gunhildr. Age 16. License Type, Master Trainer. Name, Bagon. Type, Dragon. Species, Rockhead Pokémon. Gender, Male. Ability, Rockhead. Stage, Master. Moves, Ember, Leer, Bite, Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, Ember, Fire Fang, Protect, Dragon Dance, Headbutt, Zen Headbutt, Rain Dance, Brick Break, Rock Tomb, Dragon Rage, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Skull Bash, Focus Energy. Name, Nidorino. Type, Poison. Species, Poison Pin Pokémon. Gender, Male. Ability, Poison Point. Stage, Intermediate. Moves, Leer, Poison Sting, Peck, Focus Energy, Fury Swipes, Toxic Spikes, Double Kick, Counter, Water Pulse, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Horn Attack, Sludge Bomb, Thrash, Poison Tail, Disable, Fury Attack, Dig, Iron Tail, Poison Jab, ETH Power, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Poison Sphere, Toxic. Name, Clefairy. Type, Normal. Species, Moonlight Pokémon. Gender, Female. Ability, Magic Guard. Stage, Intermediate. Moves, Charm, Copycat, Defense Curl, Pound, Sing, Metronome, Gravity. Minimize, Disarming Voice, Light Screen, Heal Pulse, Calm Mind, Psychic, Confusion, Mimic, Thunderbolt, Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Protect, Bulk Up, Misty Terrain, Shadow Ball, Reflect. Name, Pidgeotto. Type, Normal/Flying. Species, Bird Pokémon. Gender, Female. Ability, Keen Eyes, immune to attacks that lower accuracy, Tangled Feet, raises evasion if Pokémon is confused. Stage, Master. Moves, Tackle, Sand Attack, Gust, Quick Attack, Tailwind, Work Up, Protect, Double Team, Peck, Wing Attack, Aerial Ace, Roost, Steel Wing, Agility, Air Slash, Air Cutter, Hyper Beam, Giga Impact, Hurricane, Uproar, Wind Sphere. Name, Weepinbell. Type, Grass/Poison. Species, Flower Pokémon. Gender, Male. Ability, Chlorophyll, enhances speed under sunlight. Stage, Master. Moves, Vine Whip, Growth, Wrap, Sleep Powder, Poison Powder, Sweet Scent, Sunny Day, Protect, Double Team, Razor Leaf, Acid, Giga Drain, Wrap, Stun Spore, Slam, Energy Ball, Bullet Seed, Solar Beam, Synthesis, Poison Jab. Knock Off, Grass Knot, Hyper Beam, Swords Dance, Leaf Blade. Name, Charmeleon. Type, Fire. Species, Lizard Pokémon. Gender, Male. Ability, Blaze. Stage, Master. Moves, Growl, Scratch, Ember, Smokescreen, Protect, Flamethrower, Dragon Breath, Dragon Tail, Work Up, Sunny Day, Iron Tail, Aerial Ace, Rage, Mega Kick, Double Team, Metal Claw, Flame Claw, Dragon Claw, Fire Spin, Scary Face, Fire Fang, Slash, Belly Drum, Counter, Dragon Dance, Brick Break, Hyper Beam, Fire Blast, Flare Blitz, Dragon Rage, Seismic Toss. Now that Gyarados was under control, he gave him the TM for Flamethrower and Iron Tail. Name, Gyarados. Type, Water/Flying. Species, Atrocious Pokémon. Gender, Male. Ability, Intimidate. Stage, Master. Move / Bite, Tackle, Flail, Twister, Ice Fang, Brine, Scary Face, Crunch, Rain Dance, Aqua Tail, Dragon Dance, Hydro Pump, Roar, Blizzard, Ice Beam, Hyper Beam, Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, Dragon Rage, Flamethrower, Iron Tail, Endure. Phew, that's a lot of moves. Now that Gyarados was under control, he gave him some TM that he saved up. Aoki makes his Pokemon focus on certain moves more than others, which suits his strategy the best. He informed Professor Oak about the news and started preparing a training plan for Gyarados. Oak already had some exercises ready that will help improve the mental condition of Gyarados even more. As Bagon and Charmeleon had woken up from their long slumber of nearly 2 weeks, it was time for hell training for them. A/N. I was busy, so a short chapter. Chapter 68, Jill's Challenge. The next day Aoki wrote a research paper on Pokemon nature and abilities and sent it to Professor Oak for verification. The research was done by Professor Oak a few years back, which is still in use and displayed in Pokédex, but Aoki added new Pokemon natures. Along with this, he introduced new abilities like Gluttony, Friend Guard, Cute Charm, Moxie, Flash Fire, Sheer Force, etc. With every new nature and ability, he gave proof of the research he did on wild Pokemon and his own Pokemon. Professor Oak was overjoyed by this research paper and got busy verifying each of them. Misty's challenge was in 2 days, so she was busy training her Pokemons, while the same was for Aoki. As punishment for Charmeleon, he became a punching bag for the other Pokemon while under maximum gravity of Clefairy. Her mastery over gravity has increased to a degree that she can now apply gravity to everyone present there. For Bagon, he found that due to his rapidly increasing energy reserves, his control was not stable, so Aoki subjected him to intensive energy manipulation exercises. For Gyarados, he started the process of compressing his Hydro Pump, Water Pulse, and Brine to increase its range and penetration power. After which Aoki will start to teach a lot of basics to him to make his attacks consistent. Aoki didn't sit idle and did his daily workout under the effect of gravity. After giving all his Pokemon some massage, he returned and found that Misty was asleep. This continued for another day till it was time for Misty and Jill's fight. "Ready?" asked Misty. "I was always ready," replied cheerful Jill. 3 people, Aoki, Misty, and Jill were gathered in a clearing in the forest outside Flannery City. Alex was busy with gym duties, so he was not able to attend the battle. It was decided that it would be a 6-on-6 battle between Misty and Jill, with Aoki acting as the judge. The first round began with Misty sending out Azumarill and Jill sending out a Vileplume. In the entire fight, Vileplume dominated and defeated Azumarill. Aoki could see that Vileplume had good energy control and synchronization with Jill. For the next round, Misty sent out Slowpoke while Jill called back Vileplume and called out Espeon. The match was intense with both Pokemon going down at the same time. For the third round, Misty called out her Politoed while Jill called out her Raichu, which was the evolved form of the Pikachu Aoki fought in the tournament. In this match Misty, despite having a large disadvantage, turned the table and defeated Raichu. She mainly used Mist and Hypnosis strategy along with Earth Power, Dig, and Mud Shot. It was not surprising that her Raichu lost, as it was way below Surge's Raichu that had the power to feint even elite rank Pokemons. Vileplume was called again and fought a long battle but fell to Misty's Politoed, who used Ice-type attacks. First half of the match was over with Jill losing 3 Pokemon while Misty losing 2. Aoki asked them to take a break for half an hour before continuing the battle. During this time Alex joined them as he was done with his work. The match continued after Weepinbell and Nidorino repaired the area a bit. For the fourth round, Jill sent out a master-level Scizor. For this Misty sent out her newly evolved Seadra, who had the natural ability to hover on land. Seadra immediately used Rain Dance on Misty's command. Seadra's true power can be seen only in water, but only on land. Seadra can only stand and hover in one position. So her movement speed was basically 0 unless Misty makes Seadra jump using his tail as a spring, which Aoki doubts were going to happen because of Seadra evolving recently. The match was difficult for Misty as Scizor was too fast for Seadra, but Seadra compensated for the lack of speed with sheer power. Even then it was not enough to take down a Scizor. Throughout the battle, when Seadra was using moves like Dragon Breath and Dragon Rage, she noticed something that made a thin smile appear on her face. "If I am seeing this correctly, there is a chance I can take down Scizor." In such a situation Misty used the suicide strategy. Scizor only knew physical moves, so he had to come close to attacking Seadra, who didn't allow it to happen till now with moves like a Smokescreen, Dragon Breath, Hydro Pump, Dragon Rage, etc. Misty completely abandoned Seadra's defense and made it as if she did that by mistake. "Seadra, use that you have been trying to do, you can do it." Jill realized that something was wrong, but it was too late to do anything as the distance was too short. Scizor came near Seadra to finish off the battle, but as soon as Scizor's arm touched Seadra, he was hit with a very strong Dragon Pulse from point-blank range. "Zoer! See! Both of them cried out with pain after the attack. This created a large explosion, throwing both of them apart. As the result came out, both the Pokémons had fainted. Seems like the dragon fruit did quite a work, thought Aoki. He was happy that Misty was able to detect the leaking dragon-type energy from Seadra and Jill was shocked by the outcome of the battle, but Alex was not too much. The battle would have been in Misty's favor by a lot if the battle was a water field, thought Alex. For the 5th round, Jill called out a magmar, which was surprising as they could only be found on the volcanoes in Cinnabar Island in the entire Kanto region. As soon as Marmor came out, he completely removed the rain with the effect of Sunny Day, which would now boost his already devastating flames. Magmar. Misty sent out her starter Starmie and didn't bother setting up Rain Dance, but rather made him use Calm Mind. Starmie used Protect to block Magmar's flamethrower, which almost covered the entire field. A recently caught wild Magmar, they haven't bonded enough yet. Based on the behavior of Magmar, he was a battle junkie. Jill most probably promised a lot of battle for him to stay with her. Magmar hasn't acknowledged her as his trainer yet, thought Aoki. If Jill knew what Aoki was thinking, she would be shocked by the pinpoint deduction of Magmar after watching for a minute. The battle continued for a few minutes with Magmar dominating the battle with his very strong flames, but Starmie's psychic and water combination attacks had started to change the tide after Misty analyzed his attack pattern of Magmar. With moves like Confuse Ray and Recovery, Starmie was very annoying to deal with. As time went on, Magmar completely stopped listening to Jill and attacked with his instincts, which were easy to exploit for Misty, putting Magmar down with a final powerful psychic-charged Hydro Pump. Some people needed to be strictly trained to follow orders, and Magmar was one such Pokémon. This Magmar was too proud and only brute-forced his way through. This doesn't always work unless one has overwhelming strength. Jill was now down to one Pokémon, which turned out to be the final evolution of her starter, Blastoise. A very healthy Blastoise. Misty could conclude that with one look. For this match, Misty called back Starmie, letting her rest, and sent out her 9m tall Gyarados that released a roar as soon as she came out. Both Jill and Alex were shaken by the appearance of Gyarados, but among them, Alex was more shaken. He stood up from his place and moved far away from the battlefield while Aoki followed him. Scared of Gyarados? Asked Aoki. Forget about children, even adults piss their pants seeing Gyarados. But my reason for fearing Gyarados is different. Alex said. Did something happen? Yeah, when I was a child I boarded a ship from Vermilion City to go somewhere when our ship was attacked by a group of Gyarados. Out of the entire ship, only 5 people managed to stay alive, including me, while everyone in the ship was eaten alive by the group of Gyarados. If not for my Growlithe protecting me, I would have been dead too. From that day onwards I can feel my soul shaken each time I see Gyarados. Every time I see it, the screams of people as they cry for help resonate in my ears. Alex said as he began sweating, with his face becoming pale. Maybe showing him my Gyarados would give him a heart attack, thought Aoki. How were you saved? You don't have to tell if you are uncomfortable. An emergency signal was sent as soon as we were attacked by the Gyarados. Help arrived riding Feroz, but it was too late. Most of the destruction was already done. Alex developing trauma was normal, as no one would want to see people being eaten alive while the next turn may be theirs. As a gym leader I sound so pathetic, but there are some things I cannot control. I tried to control the fear and it has decreased considerably over the year, but it will still take time to go. Don't worry, everything will be fine. You will surely be out of your trauma, I am sure of it. Take your time and don't force yourself. Thanks. Aoki stayed with Alex and observed the heated battle from afar. Blastoise was doing very well against Gyarados, but Aoki could see that he was getting pushed back by the Gyarados. At some point, Misty decided that it was enough and asked Gyarados to go all out. Jill was freaked out to hear that Gyarados was not serious from the start. As expected, under the full power onslaught of Gyarados, Blastoise fell defeated, making Misty the final winner of the match with 3 Pokémon remaining. As this match was an official match, Misty won the money that was set for winning. Chapter 69, Final Days in Flannery City. Jill was disappointed at losing even after so much training, but she found a lot of shortcomings that her negativity was replaced by motivation for the future. Misty too realized that she was not training her Pokémon enough. If not for the boost from the dragon fruit, she would have lost the battle. I have to work hard so that I can walk beside him and not behind him. Misty clenched her fist. If she can improve this much after traveling alone, what was I doing till now traveling with Aoki? As for the gym battle, she talked with Alex and fixed a time 2 days later in the form of a private gym battle. Did you find out where you lack? Asked Aoki as he lay in Misty's lap. Yes, I need to use more strategy and versatile battle style. You don't need to completely change your battle style. I know you like brute forcing your way through, so create a style that revolves around that, said Aoki. Will you help me? Of course, I will help you. It's the first time you're asking for help in the matter of training, why will I not? This is completely off topic, but I was wondering what you would do if you won the Kanto League? Asked Misty. If I win the Kanto League, I will try my luck against the Elite Four and try to become the champion. He champion, I always thought that you wanted to travel the whole world, but wouldn't become the champion tie you down to one place. Although the responsibility of a champion is huge, I will get a lot of freedom and benefits to conduct research. From what I have learned, champions can elect people to do paperwork on their behalf, so I am not too worried. As for traveling to other regions, I don't really plan to participate in other leagues till I fulfill some of my goals. After the Pokemon League, I have decided to take a break from the league and do some other things. The next afternoon, Aoki prepared a toned-down version of his training routine with Misty for her Pokemons. Still, he didn't give her the calm mind and breathing exercises that he created over the years. Aoki wanted to help her train, but something urgent came up, which was a conference call over the topic of his latest research with Professor Oak and some researchers. Aoki had now several master-level Pokemon and he was confident about his safety, so he slowly let Oak introduce him to other professors. The talk took a long time as many topics were discussed, including Aoki's previous research and reports that he sent to Professor Oak before publishing it for money. Some people wanted to buy the research paper on Bellsprout line and Grass-type energy, which was Aoki's most detailed paper along with the Nature one. Of course, this would be done after paying the amount set by Aoki and Researcher Alliance. At the end of the discussion, only 3 people stayed in the call, namely Aoki, Oak, and Cynthia's grandmother Professor Carolina, who wanted to talk more about Pokemon typings. She said Cynthia seemed more motivated and happy after meeting Aoki and Misty. Professor Oak told Aoki that he would be sending him a small device to be attached to the Pokédex. That would give it a calling function like the phones in homes and Pokemon centers. The package should arrive in 2 to 3 days. The Pokédex now could be used as a full-fledged mobile phone from Aoki's previous world. By the time Aoki returned to the hotel, it was already evening. Aoki had left his Pokemons with Misty to do their own training so that they would not miss out because Aoki was busy. Now that Aoki's Pokemon have developed a fighting style using all their senses, it was time for training in which one of their senses is blocked, mainly the vision. This will give them spatial awareness and dodge attacks more efficiently. For this method, one of the Pokemon had a piece of cloth tied around his head to block the vision, while the others attacked him from all directions. First, the attacks will be very weak and then become stronger progressively. Charmeleon was still in his punishment period, so he was the first one to go through the training. For a Pokemon that likes to fight and destroy things, this type of training was very fun. With another day of training, it was finally time for Misty's gym battle. Like most gyms, the match was 3-on-3. As this was a fire-type gym, Alex was provided with some intermediate Pokemon to increase his choices. For the first match, Alex sent out an Arcanine, which was not his Pokemon. Alex was familiar with Arcanine, so it was no problem to command the Pokemon. Misty sent out her Slowpoke and tried out a new battle style with him, utilizing his full psychic potential. The match lasted for 15 minutes before Arcanine fell defeated. For the next round, Alex sent out a Rapidash, who gave a hard battle to Slowpoke and defeated him. Misty sent out her Politoed for this and defeated the Rapidash by overwhelming them with water and ground-type moves. This battle was very fast-paced, as Rapidash was one of the fastest Pokemon in the Kanto region, so it was hard to get a good hit. For the last round, Alex sent out his Ninetales, which didn't take even 5 minutes to defeat Politoed. Aoki made it look easy, but facing Ninetales, Misty understood how terrifying the Pokemon was. Misty's main objective in this gym battle was to train her Pokemon and try out a new battle style, which was successful so far. For her final match, she sent out her starter Starmie to stand against the psychic powers of Ninetales. Aoki finished the match too quickly, so he didn't get to see Ninetales in full glory, which he was seeing now. Every move of Ninetales carried a certain level of elegance. Unlike the fast Arcanine and powerful Typhlosion, the Ninetales had a mixture of power and elegance, as if in a rhythm. Both of the Pokemons could combine the two types of energies in their bodies to change the trajectory of attacks, so the match was entertaining. Unfortunately for Misty, she lost the battle as the water of Starmie could not get past Ninetales' flames even after having an advantage. Misty was not at all disappointed, as she expected her to lose against her original team Alex. The rematch was set a day after, as both their Pokemon would completely recover after a night at the Pokemon Center. During the night, Misty watched the recording of her match several times and created a new strategy against Ninetales. Aoki didn't help in this case as she needed to do that herself. The next day's rematch started with Alex using the same Pokémon as the previous day. Misty changed her team composition to Azumarill, Seadra, and Starmie to train them too. The first 2 rounds went quickly with Misty winning each of them, but the Ninetales defeated Azumarill and Seadra, bringing the score to 2-2. The last round took over half an hour, in which Misty used multiple strategies against the Ninetales and finally got a victory, but a close call. This was the hardest Pokémon battle she had, except in the matches with Aoki. She doesn't think about his Pokémons with common sense. She could have an easier time with Gyarados, but her objective of training her Pokémons would not be fulfilled. Now that everything in Flannery City was over, they began restocking their supplies and repairing their camping goods. After staying for almost 2 weeks in the city, it was time to leave. Aoki collected the package from the Researcher Alliance building and attacked it on his Pokédex. Their next destination was Lavender Town. Midnight. Aoki entered a hotel and was pleasantly surprised at what was inside the room. Misty was only in her underwear, and beside her with a pink-haired woman who had her privates covered by strings. "Happy birthday, Aoki!" Misty cheered. "Ha, happy birthday!" the woman said with embarrassment. "Nurse Joy from the Pokémon Center?" Aoki asked with surprise. "Meet and Joy, your birthday gift. She was giving you thirsty looks when we went there, so I did some talking and showed her the video, and boom, she was ready for some fun." Chapter 70, Ghost Business. It was the month of June, around 6 months since Aoki and Misty started their journey. And almost 3 weeks since they left Flannery City. At the bottom of the Pokémon Tower of Lavender Town, a separate dimension existed whose door was sealed. None of the inhabitants who lived in Lavender Town knew of the door. Inside the room in which the seal was locked, changes started to take place. Slowly cracks started forming in the seal as a blue-black portal opened up. From the portal, large amount of fog started getting out. Inside the space, hundreds of black-colored shadow-like Pokémon stood in a line in front of a large Gengar. Some of them had definite shapes similar to modern Pokémon, while some were just distorted figures with yellow glowing eyes. Along with his 2 glowing red eyes, a third yellow eye at the center of his forehead was burning with determination and passion. All of you, there are only a few hours left for our freedom. Seems like our battery has increased the output. Yay! All the ghost Pokémon began cheering loudly. The gate between the worlds has become thinner. It's our time to take back our throne, announced the Gengar as he started laughing like a maniac. Yay! Satisfied by the response of his army, Gengar announced further. Distribute yourself and influence as many Pokémons and humans as you can and break the gate and absorb their power. We shall gain back our glory. Glory! Sending his army, the Gengar approached the stone that had cracks in it. He punched the rock and completely shattered it, revealing the pitch-black Pokémon whose limbs were tied with chains connected to the ground. The Pokémon had wild plume-like structure over his head and a red spike-like structure over his neck. It was the mythical Pokémon Darkrai. At the foot of the Pokémon was a round stone that the Gengar picked up. Well, if it isn't my old pal Darkrai. Or shall I say General Incubus if you prefer the name. Darkrai stiffened hearing that name. It seems like your seal has weakened quite a lot, said the Gengar as he started laughing like a maniac. Darkrai only looked at the Gengar with eyes filled with anger but didn't utter a word. What are you giving me that look for? Hey, it's for your own mistake that you are still sealed while we are free from the pact long ago. If not for your foolishness to abandon Lord Giratina's power, you would be free like us and not an energy battery for us, said the Gengar as he absorbed more energy from Darkrai. I will not use my power for the Lord's wish for domination and destruction, said Darkrai with a voice full of emotions. Hearing this, Gengar started laughing again. Oh my dear Darkrai, you want or not, when I reopen the gate to the distortion world, Lord will make you obey, you want or not. General Umbra must have broken free and gathering allies already. I will give you a few days to decide if you want to accompany us to greatness or become a puppet again, said the Gengar as he left the area of Darkrai. I cannot let him open the gate, I have to stop him, I cannot repeat my mistakes again, I need someone to stop him, but don't think they exist anymore, the same history will repeat again, muttered Darkrai as his eyes started glowing. Far from Lavender Town, a couple could be seen walking. The boy had a worried face as the girl was laying down on Pidgeotto that was flying beside him. They were Aoki and Misty. Since yesterday night, Misty was having a heavy fever which Aoki nor his Pokémon could solve. They had tried giving her various medicines but none seemed to work. All of a sudden Aoki felt like someone gazed at him but he could not point out the direction. Must be a ghost Pokémon, we are near Lavender Town after all. What is the use of GPS if the Pokédex keeps stopping at important times? I have been walking for hours but still no town. Where did it disappear to cursed Aoki? Back to Darkrai. That human. That presence. I cannot mistake that presence, that vitality, the aura of darkness, but how is his kind still alive? I thought that those people disappeared centuries ago. It must be their doing, fate has done wonders. He can enter the seal. His Pokémon might stand a chance and stop this crisis. No, he must stand a chance. I must lead him to me. You are my only hope, human. Unknown to Aoki, a black wisp emerged from the ground and entered his body. Meanwhile, in Lavender Town, the Pokémon Tower was releasing a large amount of fog. Every person who made contact with the fog started to fall down. Within a few minutes, the entire town was covered in fog, spreading all around. Every Pokémon and person in the vicinity started falling down with a pained expression and slowly got their energy drained. In one such house in the Lavender Town, an old man began coughing hard. Around him were a lot of baby Pokémons that started falling down too. What happened, Grandpa Fuji? A concerned girl that was in another room came running, but she too fell down before she could reach him. Seems like the calamity cannot be avoided. Somebody please save those Pokémon and humans, muttered the old man named Fuji as he too fell down. At one corner of the room was a small box containing a small stone that started to glow in a strange light that spread all around the room. Not sensing what it was searching for, the light retracted into the stone. Elsewhere on a deserted island near daybreak. A purple house was situated in the middle of the island around a large garden. An old woman picked some flowers that bloomed at night and took them to a place in the garden that had a grave of a person. From the decoration around the grave, it could be said that it belonged to someone very dear. The old woman put the newly plucked flowers on the grave and sat down near it. It's been a year, dear, I still can't cope with your loss. Tears dropped from her eyes. A Gengar emerged from her shadows and hugged her to console her. I have decided to finally retire, step down from the Elite Four. We had planned to hold a celebration, but I don't think it will be possible anymore. I just now need to train a young seed for them to grow into a strong tree in my place. Suddenly her heartbeat became faster as she looked in a certain direction. Two more ghost Pokémon emerged from her shadows and looked at the same direction. Let's go, Gengar, something has happened in Lavender Town. Yes, Mistress Agatha. Chapter 71, I have to hurry. If someone asks what is the last place they want to go in the Kanto region, they would reply with Lavender Town. Lavender Town is the most remote place situated on the outskirts of the Kanto region. This area is the perfect place for criminal activities due to its remoteness. The land of this place is completely infertile to grow proper crops and provide proper housing conditions. The trees present here are too poisonous to people, don't dare cut them. If a person decided to take the road to Lavender Town, they are informed that help would not come if they come across any danger. There is a vast forest surrounding Lavender Town that is called as Forest of Death People due to the large number of corpses found there daily. Every person going to Lavender Town is advised to take the direct road and avoid the forest at all costs. Warnings are written all over the road to the city to only go during the daytime and dare not step foot after the sun sets. Finally, Lavender Town is the oldest town in the Kanto region. It is famous all over the region for having the largest cemetery for people and Pokémon. Why does the nobody try to make the area safe? Because it's impossible. No amount of psychic or dark Pokémon can erase the spirits of dead Pokémon and people from the lands. Every trainer that comes to this town has only one goal, which is to get himself a ghost Pokémon. Due to the large number of dead bodies buried in this town and the Pokémon Tower, ghost Pokémon can be found in abundance here. The population of this town is very less too. Most of the people living here are old people or people that have nothing to do in life anymore. Currently, the entire Lavender Town was engulfed in a deep white fog that was absorbing the vitality of the people present there. This fog also started spreading all around in the neighboring town, causing similar effects but in a less magnitude as the fog was not so dense yet. After mindlessly walking for like hours, Aoki finally reached the last town before Lavender Town, named Aerial Town. What made him so frustrated was the fog that was not willing to go even after Pidgeotto blew it away. Pidgeotto spectates the situation, something is wrong. First of all, the fog was denser in this town. Secondly, it was too quiet at this hour of the day. Pidgeotto returned after a few minutes and began coughing violently. Clefairy, seeing this, carefully looked at Misty and Pidgeotto and made a conclusion. Master, something is wrong with the fog. Misty and Pidgeotto have the same symptoms. Is it poison? I can feel that it is a mixture of many types of energies, 4 to be exact. Ghost, poison, psychic and last one that I have no idea about. This news made Aoki worried. Pidgeotto, did you find the Pokemon Center? Pidgeotto nodded and pointed in one direction. Aoki grabbed a Pokeball from Misty's belt and released Azumarill. Azumarill, listen to the description of Pidgeotto and take us to the Pokemon Center. Clefairy, use a psychic barrier around all of us, this should give us some time. If you can add some fairy-type energy to it too. Yes, master. Aoki called out Charmeleon, Weepinbell, and Bagon to ask them if they could feel anything else. All there of them told that they had a very ill feeling, as if their energy was getting drained. The two dragons could not tell anything about the fog, but Weepinbell gave a similar answer to Clefairy. Another piece of information Weepinbell gave was that all the trees and plants had started to die out. Something messed up is going on. I have to hurry. Aoki, with Misty in his arms wrapped in a blanket, sat on top of Nidorino, who started following Azumarill. He could feel a slight burning sensation but nothing too severe to distract him. Azumarill, who should not have any problem giving direction, told that something was interfering with his navigation skills and lowering his accuracy, but they somehow managed to reach the Pokemon Center. But the situation was even worse than imagined. There were hundreds of people laying on the floor and being treated by 3 Nurse Joy who were violently coughing. There were more normal nurses giving out medications. There were 5 Kadabras and 3 Hypno that had created a psychic barrier all around the place. Azumarill informed that he was feeling slightly better here than outside, but the effect was still there. I am sure the fog is the reason for this. Since the fog cannot enter this place, it is safe for the moment. Another patient? We cannot take care of more people, said one of the Nurse Joy. Please give her some treatment, I am willing to pay anything, requested Aoki. It's not about money, it's about suppressing the symptoms. Something has happened in Lavender Town from where this fog is originating from. Many people have tried to leave the town but they are unable to because of the fog. It has set up a certain kind of illusion barrier that even psychic Pokemons can't break. Somehow this fog has even made us unable to contact the outside world, disabling our devices. Every person or Pokemon coming under this fog is falling ill, had got their energy drained rapidly. If they have no more energy, their life is begin drained. Unfortunately, we noticed it too late and already have more than 10 deaths on our hands. I have 2 psychic-type Pokemon with me, that should help, said Aoki as he released Starmie and Slowpoke. A smile bloomed on the pale face of Nurse Joy as she deployed them in the proper place. Aoki laid Misty in one corner and told her Pokemon to keep an eye on her. Don't worry, you will be okay soon. Aoki talked around more and found that almost the entire town had fallen ill. I wanted to ask you, how are you not affected? Asked Nurse Joy to Aoki. Aoki was so busy with all these that he didn't notice that he didn't get a single symptom of falling ill or getting energy drained. I have no idea, Aoki said. This gathered the attention of the other nurse as they approached Aoki. The head nurse asked Aoki to show them his trainer ID. How many master rank Pokemon do you have? 5. Why? Hearing Aoki, some hope awoke in them. Please try to go to Lavender Town and see the situation, and if possible bring Dr. Fuji here. This is the number of the main league office. They will always pick up if you call, please give it a try to ask for help too. Currently, you are our only hope. Please help us, the league will give you as much money as you want. They requested. Yes, I plan to do that. Provide me with a map to Lavender Town, my Pokédex has stopped working, said Aoki as was handed a map immediately. He planted a kiss on her forehead of Misty and said goodbye, but Misty held his hand, refusing to let him go. Please, don't go, she said in a nearly inaudible voice. Aoki felt very bad seeing her condition. He wanted to stay with her but he had no choice. He felt like something more was to the fog than it appeared. I have to go, Misty, that is the only solution, said Aoki as he freed himself and left the Pokemon Center. Somehow a feeling arose that it might be the last time he would be meeting her. Stay safe, Misty. He clicked some of the Pokeball and called out the Pokemons that he needed the most right now. He made all of them drink some antidotes, burn heals, and potions to give their healing power a temporary boost. Clefairy Psychic Barrier and Mental Link. Pidgeotto, fly in the sky and keep informing Clefairy. He took Azumarill on his lap and sat on the back of Nidorino. Azumarill direction sensing. Nidorino, keep running and maintain a poison coating. Charmeleon, you will be our torch. As soon as Aoki felt that his mind was connected to everyone, he commanded. Let's go. Chapter 72, the voice -1. As Aoki kept moving forward, the fog started getting denser. After an hour of traveling, Pidgeotto reported various things. The first thing he said was that she could not go higher than the fog as she would feel a head-splitting headache if she tried to do that. The fog had completely messed up her sense of direction and was showing her different illusions, making her confused about her location. If not for the mental connection with Clefairy, she would have lost till now. In spite of having a psychic barrier, weakness was taking over her quickly, so Aoki called her back to the Pokeball. After traveling for another hour, they came across a large number of fainted Pokémon on the road with a condition as if they were getting sucked dry. Some of them had a high fever while some of them were dead. Something really bad was happening as Aoki's face was getting grim. He has a rough idea that the mist is most probably done by a ghost Pokémon with powers no less than elite Pokémon. He had to hurry as if the Pokémons could die, the people in the town can too. There was another question as to why only he was unaffected by all of this. Master, the amount of poison in the environment has increased. How long can you hold? A few more hours. Let's hurry then. After traveling for 2 more hours, something strange happened. Aoki felt as if a voice was calling for him. He already felt it before, but it was getting clearer every minute. He told his Pokémon to stop and focus if they can hear any voice as he closed his eyes for better hearing. Human. Aoki heard a deep voice as he found himself in a dark space with a source of light a little far from him. What happened? Where am I? Aoki voiced in the dark space, but somehow he felt like a strange calmness enveloped him and calmed him down. Human. He again heard a voice, but this time he was sure that it came from the source of light. With no other choice, he decided to make a run toward the source of light. With each step he took, he felt spirit-crushing fear halting his steps. The fear was greater than the time when he ventured into the wild Pokémon alone, fear greater than the time when Arcanine was protected from an elite Pokémon and got critically injured, fear greater than the time when he confronted more than 50 Gyarados, fear greater than the time when he was surrounded by the Nido tribe. He felt as if something was gripping his soul. He bit his lips hard to focus. I have to move forward, I don't have time. Slowly he took one step at a time towards the source of light where he feeling came from. As he reached the source of light, he was beyond shocked to see what was there. A pitch-black Pokémon whose limbs were tied up with purple chains. The Pokémon had a white fog-like plum emerging from his head with a red scarf tied to his neck. The overall appearance of the Pokémon was something like a monster from a fairy tale. Darkrai. Aoki muttered as he clearly knew the Pokémon before him. Seems like you know about my species, human, Darkrai said, looking at Aoki. As Darkrai said that, Aoki felt like all of his fears disappeared all of a sudden. Now if I look closely, you are truly a dark aura user, continued Darkrai as his blue eyes stared at Aoki from top to bottom. You must have a lot of questions, feel free to ask. What do you mean by dark aura? Aoki asked as he was genuinely confused. You are immune to the passive effect from the energy of chaos. You are the first human in centuries I have seen who has this ability. This space is an ability of mine with which I am communicating with you. These chains are a form of confinement seal that drains my powers. The only reason that I am able to communicate with is that you have powers related to darkness and my seal has weakened. Power of darkness? When did I have something like that? The power behind the soul of a human is different for everyone. A strong soul wielder can gain the power to use aura or psychic energy, but the strongest soul gains the ability of dark aura, making release their energy to make the being around them grow faster and immune against many types of energies like the energy of chaos to a certain degree. Energy of chaos, Giratina. Darkrai's eyes widened after hearing the name from Aoki. I am surprised that you know about the source of energy of chaos, I thought humans forgot that name, said Darkrai. I am here, that means you need me for something, right? Yes, must have seen the fog surrounding here, in another 8 hours it will start spreading hundreds of km and something very terrible will happen. In the basement of Lavender Town, you will find a gate. You must enter the gate and kill everything inside the gate along with the Jengar that is leading them, said Darkrai as some unknown information flashed inside the head of Aoki. Huff huff. Aoki dropped to the floor panting as he received a lot of mental pressure from the information relayed to him. You have to hurry, human. Each word of Darkrai sent made his heart beat faster as Aoki began sweating profusely. Chapter 73, The Voice -2. It is said that long ago God Arceus created the world of Pokémon. No one knows if humans existed before that or not. He created 3 Pokémon with the energy of origin which are called the Creation Trio as his retainers. The ruler of space Palkia. The ruler of time Dialga. The ruler of dimensions and negativity Giratina. These 3 Pokémon became law itself, making them immortal. As time went on, Arceus created more Pokémons like Groundon the ruler of lands, Kyogre the ruler of the ocean. And finally, Mew wielded the energy of origin as Arceus for keeping balance. Giratina with his powers created various other legendaries like Darkrai the Lord of Nightmare, Rayquaza the Lord of the Sky, Marshado the Gatekeeper of Hell, and Yveltal the ruler of Death, Dragon Lord Primal Kyurem. As time passes, the power of chaos and negativity corrupted the soul and mind of Giratina, completely changing him. Nobody knows why Giratina had an energy of chaos that was nothing like the energy of origin, as all the energies Pokémon used were derived from energy of origin. Giratina now wished to replace the other 2 Creation Trio and Arceus to become the sole ruler of the Pokémon world. That is when the most devastating battle that shaped the current world. Arceus refused to participate in that battle and left everything to his creations. The war brought several mutations in humans. Some humans gained the power of psychokinesis, aura wielders called aura guardians, and dark aura users called dark humans. Dark aura was similar to aura but can be used by a person with a very strong soul. This power was the strongest and rarest. People with dark aura can boost the power and potential of Pokémon around them passively and give a major boost in battle like aura when achieved control. This was during the time humans and Pokémon started combining their power. Nobody knows the true extent of the dark humans as they stopped existing many years ago, while psychics and aura guards still exist. In the battle, Giratina and his retainers turned out to be too strong, so everything didn't turn out well, as Giratina has the power to take control over any ghost, dragon or dark type Pokémon he wants. The only power to stop the control was the power of the dark aura that some humans possessed. Someone like Giratina could not be killed. So at the end of the war, Giratina was banished to the Distortion Realm with most of his powers taken away, but his grip and influence over the world never weakened. The residual powers of Giratina gave birth to many new ghost-type and dark-type Pokémon that can be seen today. Many Pokémons that took part in that battle either disappeared, lost all their powers, or went to deep slumber to wake up once again. The Distortion Realm is his own created dimension where Giratina still always gets out his seal. The breaking of the seal of him and his retainers is inevitable, as the ones that created the seals are no more. Soon, Giratina will re-emerge to continue his battle for the throne, and the only way to stop him would be to kill him and make him reborn without the corrupted soul. After the war, several changes took place. Giratina was one of the reasons for maintaining the balance of the world, and now with his absence, things had to be changed. Yveltal and the species of Darkrai were forgiven and turned into a new leaf, but not every Darkrai was forgiven like the one Aoki was standing in front of. Dragon Lord Primal Kyurem got divided into 3 different Pokémon, namely Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. Many original legendaries created new legendaries like Lugia, creating Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno to watch over the region of Kanto. Similarly, Kyurem created the Sword of Justice, and Ho-Oh created the legendary dog trio of Yoto. For the world to survive, humans and Pokémons had to coexist. Giratina has influenced a lot of humans and Pokémon to crack his seals so that he can return back to the original realm. Most of his retainers like the original Darkrai and Marshado were sealed away with most of their powers stripped away. Over the centuries the seals have gotten weaker, making some of the Pokémons ready to be free. The seals are not absolute and will break over time, turning the world upside down. The information latest till the conversation between Gengar and Darkrai. So you were one of the retainers of Giratina who were sealed for his crimes, said Aoki. Yes, but I never wanted such bloodshed. I merely wanted to support my creator, but everything went wrong. Before I realized that what I was doing was wrong, a lot of things had happened. I am a sinner who betrayed his creator and joined the enemy to kill my own allies. If Gengar absorbs the rest of my powers, he will start a massacre along with his army. He and his army cannot leave the space of the seal yet, but their seal would be broken in another 8 hours. Why choose me? Didn't I tell you? Only the person who possesses the power of darkness can enter the seal. If you cannot do that, every living thing around the seal ceases to exist. All of Lord Giratina's retainers had the power to use the energy of chaos at one point. After he was gone, many like Rayquaza and Kyurem lost the ability, but I and Gengar can still use the power of chaos. Every second you waste, Gengar will absorb my power for himself and his army. Without the power of darkness, even Pokémons belonging to upper echelons of power will start to fall. That explains why my Pokémon are growing at a speed that surpasses common sense, my high stamina and the words left by Darkrai. What should I do? this mission has a huge risk to my life. Should I run away and call for Professor Oak? No, if I run Misty would die, which I cannot allow at any cost, thought Aoki. If you can deal with this danger, I shall provide you with power and large benefits. I promise you my life and my loyalty, said Darkrai. Fine then, I will help you deal with Gengar, but in return, you shall be under my command and help me control this dark aura thing. I will follow your command if you can deal with Gengar. As for my restraints, I can get rid of them if given some time. Chapter 74, Pokemon Tower. Aoki opened his eyes and found that only around 5 minutes had passed in the outside world. He looked at his palms that now released a bit of black aura. So this is what Darkrai was talking about. Who would have thought that I had such powers? Seems like God gave a cheat after all. I always wondered why my Pokemon grew in size and showed power beyond their rank. I never expected it was because of the aura of darkness. Darkrai unlocked some of his power temporarily with his ability, but to use the true power, he has to unlock the power himself. He was given the knowledge of coating his arms and eyes with aura of darkness by Darkrai from his memories during the war. One by one Aoki touched all the Pokemon that surrounded him. All of them felt a warm feeling circulating in their body and felt that the energy that was being continuously sucked out of their body had stopped. This should stop the effect of the fog for a few hours. His Pokemon were confused as to what he was doing, but Aoki told them he would explain everything on the way. Pidgeotto, the fog will not affect you anymore, please take Azumarill back to Misty. Aoki was not sure about the outcome of the battle but knew that it was going to be very tough. In such conditions, he wanted to avoid deaths. He was not confident in protecting Azumarill, so he asked Pidgeotto to take her back to the hospital. As Pidgeotto left, Aoki explained to his Pokemon what had happened and the talk he had with Darkrai. Follow my instructions, we are taking the quickest route to the Pokemon Tower. They started to move after Pidgeotto came back. She was too told about the things that happened to Aoki moments ago. As they moved forward, the temperature kept dropping very quickly. Aoki took out some warm clothes and continued his journey. After 2 more hours of traveling at full speed, they reached the outskirts of Lavender Tower. Looking at the tall tower, Clefairy could feel a large amount of ghost and poison type energy. The trees surrounding the tower had started melting and turning into a black substance. Within the fog, lighter started sounding from all directions. A large number of red eyes stared at Aoki and his Pokemon. Food. Enemy. Intruder. One by one the eyes got closer to Aoki with intent that was not peaceful. Clefairy and Charmeleon deal with these ghost Pokemons. Clefairy, God is master. Chameleon, it's my first time fighting ghost types, too bad I cannot have fun now. Strong psychic and fire type moves were released from Clefairy and Charmeleon, hitting ghost Pokemons around Aoki, destroying them in that instant. Let's go. Aoki entered the Pokemon Tower that was now in complete darkness. Charmeleon acted as a torch and led the way following Aoki's instructions. The temperature inside the tower was freezing cold, but Charmeleon's fire was enough to keep everyone warm. The tower was filled with tombstones of Pokemon and humans. Some even dated back to 1000 years. Currently, Pokemons are no longer buried in the Pokemon Tower but rather in the graveyard outside the Pokemon Tower. Trainers are given a choice if they want the body to be buried or cremated. Dead Pokemon release their leftover energy into the environment, which as time goes on becomes concentrated after mixing with other dead Pokemon's energy. This cluster of energy gains consciousness and becomes ghost Pokemon. The time of this process is not fixed. Ghost Pokemons are mostly born from this process, but sometimes different methods can be seen too, but ghost Pokemon are incapable of mating and producing eggs. Due to the action of the Gengar of the Seal, the ghost Pokemons of the tower were running rampant. Every ghost Pokemon attacked Aoki and his Pokemons. He had Clefairy, Charmeleon, and Nidorino out, who were more than enough to deal with them as they were very weak. Some were tricky to hurt, but this is where Clefairy's psychic powers come into play. Aoki had asked his Pokemon to keep the damage minimal as he didn't want the tombstones to be broken. After a few minutes, they reached the bottom floor of the tower, which had a larger door with a lock. In normal conditions, the door would be invisible, but with eyes coated with dark aura, it was possible to see many things that were invisible to naked eye. As it's been a while since Aoki was using dark aura, he knew that temporary control that Darkrai gave him would soon end. He had to hurry. Master Nate, or my psychic or fairy energy is able to break the lock, said Clefairy. It's okay, just move back. Aoki bit his finger and drew a pentagon on the lock with his blood and dark aura. The red blood started to glow and melt the lock. Cree. As soon as the lock disappeared, the door automatically opened, revealing a set of stairs to the basement. The basement was a very small room, but what made it creepy was the inverted statue of Giratina with his limbs chained to four corners of the room. His face was towards the floor, on which a glowing portal could be seen. Beside the portal were two statues that appeared to be of Dialga and Palkia, but their faces were missing as if crushed by something. Aoki remembered the process to go into the portal. There were some ways for a person to enter the portal. First was with the power of Mew, Dialga, or Palkia, who could freely travel across the seals. The second was a dark human, but it only gave the power to enter but not exit until the seal, unless it's destroyed. Here goes nothing. Aoki called back every Pokémon to their Pokeballs and jumped into the portal. Chapter 75, Dimensional War -1, A Trip to the Enemy Domain. In an unknown space, a man sat on a throne with his eyes full of frustration. Wrapped around his fingers were 9 pink threads which were connected to a glowing yellow orb. There was one blue thread that was connected to the orb too, but it was floating in the air instead of the man's control. One by one all the pink threads started to break apart, making the man panic a bit. After a few seconds, only the blue thread remained, which was not under his control. Sigh, seems like I failed to manipulate fate this time. I had some things planned for him till he becomes strong enough to face the first calamity, but seems like the other party is moving fast too. The threads of fate with which I controlled my champion's destiny had broken apart, which means no matter what I do, it will lead to his doom. The tread of uncertainty still remains firm, so there is a chance for him to survive. But only if he can tap into the power I gave to him on time. Cruz had lost the ability to interfere in that world years ago, and now, I lost my ability to do it too. At least Arceus has a part of his consciousness there, but I don't know when it will wake up. Sigh. It's tough being a god. If only Arceus hadn't messed up so badly, I would have had fewer responsibilities. Getting out of his thoughts, he looked into the golden orb closely. I have high hopes for you, my champion. Get hold of that power, it will take you to an unimaginable height. As soon as Aoki jumped into the portal, he found himself falling through the sky toward the ground at a rapid rate. It felt as if he was falling from the clouds that were nowhere near the clouds he was used to seeing. I am dead if I crash. Aoki released Pidgeotto and Clefairy from their Pokeballs and helped him land safely. The place he handed could be said the strangest place had been in both of his lives. The air breathed left a burning sensation on his windpipe, filling his body with an uncomfortable feeling. There were strange energy fluctuations all around, which was something he had never sensed before. He climbed on Pidgeotto, who started to fly ahead with Clefairy floating beside him. The landscape inside the seal can be called a wasteland. It was like an infinite land with some dry trees and a lot of structures made of stones and other materials. Some were statues of Pokémon he had never seen before, while some were Pokémon he knew about, like Giratina, Marshedo, Rayquaza, and Kyurem. Kyurem seemed different than what he remembered. Then the fact that the original Kyurem got divided into 3 separate Pokémon surfaced in his memory. The sky was strange too. The sky was blood red in color with a black moon present. The clouds were green in color and seemed pretty toxic. In spite of there being a water source, the land was dry and full of cracks. The water that flowed was orange in color, similar to the color of the ground, and flowed toward the sky instead of going inside the ground. As Aoki was moving forward, something caught his eye as he looked below. On the ground were hundreds of pitch-black creatures that resembled different Pokémon, monsters from fairy tales and humans. It was an army of intermediate-level creatures that could cause large destruction with their number. Not every Pokémon there was ghost Pokémon. Most of them were souls of dead Pokémon that were under the command of Gengar. Pidgeotto, go down. Clefairy, prepare. Every Pokémon looked at Aoki and condensed various attacks. At that time, Aoki had nearly reached the ground, so he released all of his Pokémon that used protect and other defensive moves together. Everyone goes all out without holding back. Fight if your life depends on it. With a roar, Charmeleon and Gyarados were the first ones to start causing havoc, followed by Pidgeotto, Bagon, Nidorino, and Weepinbell. Mostly all of them were master-level Pokémon, so they had the ability to handle multiple intermediate Pokémon easily. Moreover, with the teamwork Aoki had taught to his Pokémon, the battle should be easy for them. Clefairy stayed close to Aoki to protect him in case of emergency. 10 Shadows Gyarados charged Hydro Pump at the red Gyarados, but one Hydro Pump from the red Gyarados was enough to disintegrate them. Charmeleon literally summoned a sea of flames, which was turned into a storm by Pidgeotto. Weepinbell had summoned a forest that acted as if having a will of its own. Bagon was running around using his Dragon type and other moves to their full potential. Every time a shadow Pokémon was destroyed, it was broken into particles and disappeared into the surrounding. Mid-battle Clefairy gave Aoki a mental message. Master, I feel like I can use that move now. A smile formed on the face of Aoki as he commanded Clefairy use Moon Blast. A small ball of pure white energy was released into the air, which exploded and released a large amount of energy and disintegrated every Pokémon it touched. This was followed by Clefairy bursting out with energy. Master, I reached Master rank. Told you that reaching good mastery over Fairy-type energy was the key to reaching Master rank. There is no record in the history of a Sylphaery or Clefable achieving a power greater than Master rank, which Aoki was going to change. Nidorino saw this and muttered, just wait, I will reach Master rank today and take back my position, as he used large-scale earth power. A large number of Pokémons attacked Aoki too, but they were all destroyed by Clefairy with her new power. Her gravity control had increased to a degree that she could now use very powerful repulsive force to cause havoc. You led a human here to deal with me, hey? Said the Gengar to Darkrai. This Gengar was different from normal Gengar. Along with having 3 eyes and being around the height of 4m, it was pitch black in color, similar to Darkrai. Seems like you refused my offer to achieve greatness and become a ruler, Gengar punched Darkrai. All you had to do was join me on my siege or provide me with powers, but you choose to betray our mission again. Gengar kept punching Darkrai, who just listened. Fine, if you want to play I like this, I will entertain you too. Let me see the powers of the human you left your hopes on. It would be fun to kill him in front of you, or better take control of his body and make him kill more humans. Sounds good, right? As Gengar was about to leave, black tendrils emerged from the ground, holding him in place and stabbing his body. Gengar felt like his ghost and psychic powers were suppressed entirely. Gengar turned to see that the chains holding the arms of Darkrai were broken. Hee ha ha ha, trying to hold me back, hey? Let's see how long can you hold me with your dark-type power. Don't forget I am not a normal Gengar, I too was blessed by the Lord, said the Gengar as he started releasing a small amount of energy of chaos to break free from Darkrai's dark tendrils. That is when he felt it, a familiar energy fluctuation. That energy, aura of darkness, in this era Gengar's head snapped towards the direction where his army was reducing at a rapid rate. A wide smile appeared on his face. It will be satisfying to kill him or maybe put him under my control. I can't wait. Chapter 76, Dimensional War -2, a retainer appears. Crack. Boom. All the tendrils that held Gengar were destroyed by the energy of chaos. Now then, time to have some fun. Gengar gave a creepy laugh and disappeared from his place. I have bought you as much time as a possible human. The rest is up to you. My restraints and the seal would break in a few hours, please hold on till then. Darkrai looked at the horizon where Aoki's Pokémons were causing havoc. Deep inside he was filled with regret, conflicted by the choices he was making. The memories that he spent before the war started to surface in his mind, making his entire body shake. As Aoki wondered where the Gengar was, his instincts screamed at him. Boom. Clefairy Gravit. He was able to utter this much before he and Clefairy were thrown hundreds of meters away by an invisible punch. Clefairy took most of the hit, but Aoki still got injured and coughed up blood. Clefairy ignored the pain and balanced both of them with her powers. Don't worry about me now, we have a bigger problem to deal with, said Aoki. Tisk. I really have gotten weak, if I had my previous powers I could have squashed you like bugs with this. A creepy distorted voice rang all around them. The space around them rippled as a 4m tall pitch-black Gengar appeared in front of them. The energy he released was at the peak of elite rank, making it the most dangerous energy they had faced so far. So you are the human that Darkrai made his last hope, let me see if you are worth his last-ditched effort, said Gengar as he released a large amount of killing intent. The army of shadow Pokémon stopped its movements and moved back. All of Aoki's Pokémon saw visions of them dying in the most brutal way. Wake up! This is not a place to stop. We will live! Screamed Aoki, taking out his Pokémon from their vision. It would be a lie if Aoki said he was not afraid. His entire body was shaking, but he knew if he didn't move he will die. I took the mission in the heat of the moment, but seems like this is more dangerous than expected. Darkrai said Gengar would be weak. Weak my ass. His power is at the peak of elite rank. One mistake and we are done. Nidorino Lightning Horn. Nidorino dashed towards Gengar with lightning cracking on his horn, but as he got near Gengar all his movements stopped. Oh, you want to use lightning? Let me show what true lightning is. Spark! Spark! A large amount of lightning condensed in the first of Gengar as he pushed Nidorino. Did you like my thunder punch? Nidorino turned into a blur and crashed to the ground, forming a crater. His horns cracked as he began bleeding profusely. Not enough, I will win. Nidorino screamed and dashed again, but this time the energy within him exploded to a new level. Finally, Nidorino reached master rank. His speed increased as he reached Gengar again and fired a sludge bomb. A shield blocked the sludge bomb, but the combination of Thunderbolt and Water Pulse hit Gengar. Gyarados opened his mouth wide and released a condensed wave of brine like a laser. The attack was so fast that Gengar could not activate his permeability mode and a hole formed on his shoulder. Under the influence of Aoki's dark aura, all his Pokémon's attacks now had traces of dark aura, so those attacks could ignore Gengar's permeability. That hurts. You will regret this. The smiling Gengar was now pissed. 10 orbs of condensed ghost-type energy started revolving around Gengar and shot toward Gyarados. Shadow Ball. Gyarados used Dark Pulse. Charmeleon Draconic Flames. Bagon Dragon Breath. Weepinbell Energy Ball at the exact moment when the other attacks connect. Pidgeotto Hurricane, increase the power of Charmeleon's moves. Clefairy use Repulsive Force, stop Gengar's movements. Shouted Aoki, gulping down 2 bottles of full restores. Although it will not work as it did with Pokemon, it will heal his internal damage and stop the injury. Gengar immediately teleported near Gyarados, who destroyed the Shadow Ball, but it was coming from an elite level Pokemon, moreover had the power of Chaos mixed in, so Dark Pulse could not stop the attack completely. Shadow Punch. Purple energy enveloped the first of Gengar as he gave Gyarados an uppercut, which Gyarados resisted up to some degree with crunch. At the same time, a wave of purple-red flames covered Gengar, followed by a wave of blue-purple dragon-type energy. Nidorino, who had recovered to a degree, fired an ice beam at Gengar, which the Gengar dodged. You pests! Gengar looked at Aoki with boiling anger. I will kill you first. Protect Master, said Clefairy to everyone through the mental link as she used Misty to rain. And Moonblast. Gengar took massive damage from this hurt and erected a shield, but the shield broke the next second with strong fairy psychic power as he was slammed to the ground with extremely strong repulsive force. Roar. Gyarados roared and fired brine like a laser, hitting Gengar along with Weepinbell's energy ball. The ground below him exploded with strong earth energy. It was Nidorino's earth power. Charmeleon fired 2 continuous rounds of Fire Blast along with Bagon Flamethrower with traces of flames like Charmeleon's Draconic Flames. The battle went on for half an entire hour and Aoki showed his commanding skills to put the Gengar in a critical condition. Gengar could never imagine normal Pokemons could show such power and put him in such a state. Shit. 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 This can't be happening. Why is it so hard to kill them? If only this bastard came an hour later, I could have regained some of my old powers to squash him. Moreover, the dark aura is running rampant, recovering their energy. I have to do something. Aoki had to constantly run and jump around so as to not get in the way of his Pokemons. Gengar's prime target of the attack was always Aoki or Clefairy. Aoki because of his commanding ability and Clefairy because of her annoying gravitation powers and her being the central line of command after Aoki. Darkrai, who could only watch from a distance, was amazed by Aoki's commanding capabilities and the power of his Pokemon. He never expected Aoki's Pokemon to push Gengar this far under an hour. Each of his Pokemons could muster up power that is beyond their capabilities. Dark Aura is truly fascinating. No wonder they are not around anymore. They destroyed the balance of nature, thought Darkrai as more of his chains broke down. But Gengar cannot be defeated so quickly. He still has his trump card that has the power to end the battle. I must hurry to break my seal. You punks! How can your attacks hurt so much that it doesn't make sense? I am a commander of Lord Giratina, I will not fall here, Gengar screamed as his energy exploded, releasing even greater killing intent. Curse you! As a large amount of energy started to gush out of Gengar. Chapter 77, Dimensional War 3, A Gift to a Retainer. A three-eyed Gengar kneeled in front of a figure who looked at him with pride. Around the Gengar kneeled a variety of different Pokemon, some large, some small. All of them had the same emotion towards the Gengar. Envy. You have done well, Gradius, you have made me proud as a creator, the mysterious figure said. A small glowing stone appeared in his hand which floated toward Gengar and entered his third eye. This is a gift for your accomplishments, a primal stone. This. Gengar was speechless after receiving such a priceless gift. Tears of joy rolled down his eyes as his lord acknowledged his efforts. You are the first one to receive this from me after the Weather Trio. To tap into the primal form, you must have absolute trust in yourself. A burning desire to win. To fulfill your dreams. This power holds immense potential, so use to wisely. Gradius. Current time. Gengar screamed as all the shadow Pokémon started disintegrating and adding to his body. From the body of Gengar, a small stone rose into the air while shining in bright purple light. Aoki's eyes widened seeing the pattern of the stone. Is that I think it is? This is bad, very bad. What did I get myself into? Aoki recognized the stone and the dangers and immediately ordered all his Pokémon to aim their strongest attacks at the stone. Alas! It was too late, as the next second a black sphere appeared around Gengar, blocking every attack. In the glory of the Lord, the original ruler, I call forth the power from beyond. Primal evolution. Haha, a lock laugh echoes throughout the space as the sphere bursts open with a released shockwave of champion-level energy. The Gengar had turned 6m in height. The length of his arms had increased along with the third eye on his forehead becoming more defined. Mega evolution, Aoki muttered with a shaking voice as he found the situation getting worse. This power, how much have I missed it? Although not my absolute power due to the stone being an imitation, it is more than enough for the situation, for now, muttered the Gengar as he looked toward Aoki and his Pokémon. Boom! Crack! Pidgeotto dodge! The Gengar disappeared from his place, creating a crater, and the next second appeared above Pidgeotto with Ghost-type and Electric-type energy-clad fists. Boom! Before Pidgeotto could react, she was smashed to the ground with a force that could erase her from existence if not for Clefairy's gravity. Even then, a lot of her bones were shattered. Shit, Clefairy, start healing her! Charmeleon Dragon Claw, Bagon Fire Blast, Gyarados Thunderbolt! He shouted. Everyone hold on! That boost is temporary. You bastard! Charmeleon roared and jumped towards Gengar with Dragon Claw but got a Shadow Ball in the face at a speed beyond his understanding. Charmeleon was thrown away hundreds of meters from the impact of the Shadow Ball, with his bones getting broken too. He grits his teeth with anger and balanced himself with his strong feet. I am not gone yet. Charmeleon dashed towards the Gengar, cladding his whole body in flames, ignoring the blood and injuries. The ground burst open as a large forest started appearing around Gengar, but a dark flash formed in the palms of Gengar. Nightshade. In an instant half of the forest turned to ash from Gengar's attack. Gengar didn't have to search for Weepinbell as he was already near him with the solar beam ready, but the next second a flame-clad fist was smashed into Weepinbell. Weepinbell felt his insides getting crushed and burnt from the attack but still retained the solar beam hitting Gengar. Weepinbell knew that even if one of them fell now they would lose all of the battles. At the same time, Gyarados' Thunderbolt and Bagon's Fire Blast hit Gengar, causing a large explosion. Weepinbell and Pidgeotto started using Synthesis and Roost as soon as their condition somewhat stabilized, but that level of injury was not healing so quickly or may even stay permanently. They could hear Aoki's worried scream within the battle, which gave them the courage to fight for themselves as well as him. Clouds gathered in the red sky, which was followed by violent thunder falling on each Pokémon. The power of thunder was so great that Pidgeotto lost consciousness and Gyarados was on his last string with a large portion of his scales broken and shattered. Gengar's third eye glowed and released a purple beam that targeted Gyarados. Boom! Unfortunately, Bagon could not stop the attack, which created a hole in both Gyarados and Bagon's bodies. Aoki felt devastated seeing the condition, but there was nothing he could do right now except command. He somehow reached the Pokémons that took the most damage and emptied all his portions and medicines on them to save their life from fading away. Charmeleon went berserk as his Blaze characteristic activated and clashed against Gengar, not giving him chance to attack. The level of his firepower reached elite rank and started hurting the champion-level Gengar. The leaves on the hands of Weepinbell turned to the sharpest blade as he swung them against Gengar, along with using all the moves he knew to attack. Nidorino didn't fight in the close quarter but kept using range spells like a Thunderbolt, Acid, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Blizzard to attack at every opening they could find. Gyarados, who had a hole in his body, ignored the pain and started blasting the Hydro Pump at the Gengar who was attacking his companions. Clefairy's psychic and fairy power consumption was huge. She had to connect the minds of each Pokémon for coordination attacks and not get in each other's way while using different moves to weaken Gengar. The main reason that all the Pokémon were still alive was due to her using High Mastery multiple layered light screen that was used on every companion. Somehow Clefairy felt that her fairy-type moves were working on Gengar's third source of energy, so she used Moon Blast, Disarming Voice, Misty Terrain, Energy Sphere that used fairy-type energy. With such usage and mastery over fairy-type energy, a new power unlocked within Clefairy. Multiple white lights exploded near Mega Gengar, dealing massive damage. That's Dazzling Gleam. Clefairy created it on her own, thought Aoki as he commanded his Pokémon's combos. He didn't have the time to appreciate her now. Every Pokémon's energy mastery and powers were pushed beyond the limit as they went close to death. Everyone has started running out of energy. Should I make them evolve? No, it will kill them faster as they will be vulnerable during the evolution. All sorts of plans revolved inside Aoki's head to think of a suitable solution. Aoki used every strategy to make his Pokémons dodge Gengar's attack, but predicting his movements or other methods that had taken a large mental toll on him. But in the face of overwhelming power, all his plans started to fail. Chameleon's claws were broken, Pidgeotto could not move her body, Weepinbell has started to decay, Nidorino's horns are broken, Gyarados' scales and horns were broken, Bagon was missing chunks of flesh, Clefairy too had multiple broken bone. Immense guilt dawned upon Aoki as he blamed himself for the condition of his Pokémon. He blamed himself for overestimating himself, he blamed himself for not making his Pokémon strong enough. I am sorry for falling, everyone muttered Aoki as despair dawned upon his face. Clefairy, what are you thinking, master? If not for you we would all be dead by now. Weepinbell, I don't care what happens, the moment I spent with you is the best moment of my life. Don't give up. Pidgeotto, you showed me love that I could never experience in the wild. I will fight till the end in the respect of your love, so don't give up. Gyarados, you showed me what a family and love feel like. I will protect you till the end. Charmeleon, you gave me a home when I lost everything, so I will give my everything so that you return home too. Nidorino, you kept your promise to make me strong and show me the world, I will keep my promise to protect you. Bagon, you are a parent to me, I absolutely refuse to die and see you die, so get to work and command us, master. Everyone, that's right. We haven't lost yet. I cannot give up here, for myself and my companions, for dreams. You insolent pests still refuse to lie down. Ganar screamed as he started releasing a massive amount of energy, suffocating everyone. Why don't you all die? I was supposed to be invincible after getting so much power. The killing intent of Gengar had increased to a degree that it was unbearable. His energy kept rising till it reached peak champion level and could surpass that any moment. Aoki felt as if his head would burst open with all the pressure and killing intent. His vision became red as the blood vessels in his eyes began to tear apart. Deep inside, Gengar saw something familiar in Aoki's Pokémon: love, faith, trust, and loyalty, the same feelings that he has towards his creator, his lord. But only one of us are faith with a win, and I refuse to die until I fulfill what my lord desires. I will live. I will revive my companions. I will be my lord's strongest sword. Everyone get as far as possible! Shouted Aoki as felt something big was going to happen. Charmeleon put pressure on his legs and dashed forward, Clefairy carried Bagon and Aoki to fly forwards, Weepinbell created a catapult with his vines to throw himself and Nidorino forwards, while Gyarados started flying forward carrying Pidgeotto. Boom! The energy around Gengar exploded, forming a large mushroom cloud and enveloping everyone as everything turned white. Chapter 78, Aftermath, What It Means to Follow One's Dream. It was the season of spring. There was a feeling of joy mixed in the air. Everything seemed peaceful. Hee come catch me if you can. A three-eyed Ghastly teleported away as soon as a small Darkrai was inches away from touching him. Not fair, Gradius. Teleportation is against the rules. Who decided that it was against the rules? You are just slow, just accept that, Incubus Ghastly teased. You. Darkrai grumbled with anger. All of a sudden both of them felt pressure on them, making them stop arguing. Seems like you two are having fun. A man started walking towards them with a gentle smile. The man had long shoulder-length ashen hair with purple eye color. Both of them ran toward the man with excitement and confusion. Lord! The man could sense confusion and answer. I was interested to see how the humans viewed the world, so I created a body that resembled the humans. He snapped his fingers and 4 plates of food appeared in his hands. He took one for himself, gave 2 to them, and 1 disappeared into his shadow. This is something I received from the humans I met earlier. They are delicious. Give them a try. Thank you, Lord. Both Pokémon started to devour the food as fast as possible, trying to finish faster than the other. I saw that you two were arguing over some time. It's okay if you do that, but remember we all are a family and must look after each other. Am I clear? Yes, Lord. We are best friends after all, both of them said, coming close to each other. All of them ate peacefully under the shade of a tree which occasionally dropped some leaves. The sounds of insects chirping were faint, making it a peaceful moment. Darkrai closed his eyes and wished for the peaceful moment to stay forever. After a few minutes, the man asked. Do you two have any dreams? My dream is to follow you forever, Lord, and become your sword, Ghastly said without hesitation, making the man laugh. Darkrai thought for a few seconds before answering. I want to do what is right. The man was not so surprised by the answer as if expecting it. There is nothing wrong or right in life. Those who are stronger and winners decide what is right for the masses. But you are different, Incubus, you must not let the common laws affect you. Remember, you must do what you feel is right. Never let your beliefs convulse, he said with a smile. I get it. What's your dream, Lord? Darkrai asked. Ghastly was interested to hear that too. My dream is to have a big family and take back what was originally mine. And finally, return to a peaceful time. I don't quite understand, Lord, Darkrai said. Don't worry about it. You will understand when the time comes. Crack. The strange stone shattered. The effect of primal evolution came off soon after the explosion. There was a massive crater about 1 kilometer around Gengar. Haha. That is what I am talking about. Gengar laughed as he saw the destruction he caused. The primal stone used by Gengar was not a genuine one but a replica made by him. Aoki and his Pokémons were nowhere to be seen. Nice, those annoying pests turned to ashes. Although I used my army to make myself stronger, it was worth it as I feel very good. I can make the army again after killing a bunch of Pokémon and humans. My energy reserves have increased a lot in this fight. Let's absorb Darkrai's Chaos Energy Core completely before his seal breaks, as it would be troublesome if that happens. I will make him realize his mistake after that. Gengar looked up and saw that a crack had formed in the red sky. Seems like the seal would be broken in a few minutes. Can't wait to go to the surface after centuries. Sport. Tib. Tib. Just as Gengar was about to fly towards Darkrai to absorb his power, he spat a mouthful of blood. Looking down, he saw a dark claw going through his stomach as he felt his power leave his body at a rapid rate. Multiple dark tendrils emerged from the ground, stabbing into the body of Gengar and binding him to the ground. Incubus! You bastard! How are you free? Your seal was not supposed to break for another few days. Gengar screamed as he spat a mouthful of blood. He tried attacking back Darkrai, but the dark tendrils had disabled his power. You don't need to know about it, your resistance is futile, Darkrai said coldly as he stabbed his other hand and grabbed Gengar's heart, and took it out of his body. No, don't do it, Incubus. We can still work together. We were supposed to have each other's back. We were supposed to fulfill our dreams. We can achieve greatness again. Don't ruin everything like last time. Gengar screamed and struggled, but it was futile as Darkrai devoured Gengar's heart. Stop screaming, I am already walking towards my dream, it is you whose dreams are getting crushed. No. A retainer of Lord Giratina cannot die like this. Gengar shouted as his body started disintegrating and getting absorbed into Darkrai. Told you, your resistance is futile. Goodbye, General Gradius. Gengar stopped screaming as he realized that death was near. He looked at Darkrai with pity. Never expected that you will really take this step, Incubus. Is this what you deemed as right? Killing your allies, your family, going against your siblings. You will suffer for eternity. Till the end, you didn't understand the true intentions of your creators. The last thing Gengar saw before his eyes disintegrated was a small pink Pokémon looking into his eyes. So this is what happened, bloody thieves, muttered Gengar as he completely disappeared, leaving behind a black orb. Darkrai picked up the black orb and absorbed it, filling his body with a different kind of power. He paused for a moment as his entire body started shaking, not because of the new power but rather outbreak of emotions. Tears dropped from his eyes as he looked at his hands that were covered in blood of the individual he once called a comrade. I cannot turn back. I must keep moving forward, no matter what the cost. It took him a few minutes for him to calm his emotions down. A dark cloak enveloped Darkrai as his energy kept increasing from the beginning of intermediate rank to peak master rank. The body that appeared to have sucked dry healed as the black color on his body became darker. I fulfilled my promise, Mew. I kept my promise, so you keep yours, Darkrai said, looking at the small pink Pokémon that was now hovering above his head. How are your powers? The small pink Pokémon asked. I can have forgotten most of my moves, I have completely lost my energy control and will take a few months to gain it. The only ability I remember is the dark tendrils and spatial powers, Darkrai said. What do you plan to do now, Darkrai? Asked Mew in a cute voice as it revolved around Darkrai. I am sure that since our seal is broken, the other seals would be broken too, so the chance of Giratina from coming out of the distortion world is inevitable. The least I can do is get rid of his retainers that have not escaped yet. I will accompany the human in his journey and help him prepare for the upcoming calamity. I cannot let the tragedy happen again, Darkrai said. Wouldn't it be painful, killing those whom you called companions once? Mew asked. It's painful, to the level it's unbearable, but it's the price I have to pay for choosing a different side, a different destiny. Remember that you are one of the reasons that peace remains today and the world is not a wasteland. As things are going right now, even if I call the legendaries for help, they would not be able to face the energy of chaos. They would succumb to madness and destroy what they swore to protect. You and the human are our only hope. Mew said softly. I have got to say, that human even amazed me, said Mew as both of them teleport to a distance. In that place, chartered bodies of 7 Pokémons and a human that had almost turned into a mummy body lay, but they were not dead. The flesh on the body of the human could be seen slowly regenerating. What amazing vitality and determination, no wonder they were erased out of existence. They are enough to change the tide of the world. Darkrai muttered. At the last moment, he awakened his dark aura and connected his life force with his companions. Without that awakening, his existence would have been erased. He could have survived the explosion in better condition, but this boy sacrificed his own life force in exchange for keeping them alive. Said Mew. The amount of dark aura in his body would have kept them alive, so why is his condition like this? Asked Darkrai. He used too much dark aura due to sloppy control that was beyond his capacity, so his life force was converted into the aura. See, in every Pokémon, only the external injury remained, their broken bones and missing muscles and scales, everything has regenerated. His dark aura is like a vast ocean, unlike anything I have ever seen. That explosion should have turned all of them into powder, but his body entirely regenerated like before. This power is behind regeneration. What does that mean? Darkrai asked. It is not just a dark aura, there is a second unknown power inside his body that is lying dormant. Keep the second thing a secret from him now, let him figure it out himself. Mew said as a purple glow enveloped every Pokémon and Aoki, whose body started rapidly regenerating. Is he the child of destiny? Darkrai asked. No, he is different from the child of destiny. It is the first time I am seeing him too. But his potential is even higher than the child of destiny. Mew summoned Aoki's bag that he was able to bring back from somewhere and told Darkrai about the Pokeballs and some other stuff. I am bound by my contract not to interfere with some affairs. This boy here is one of the factors that would decide the future of the world. I leave him in your care, Darkrai. My power is not sufficient to solve the crisis that is about to come. I have exhausted the energy of origin that was given to me. Said Mew as he dropped a piece of shiny grey rock in the hands of Darkrai. This, Moonstone. Give the human this when he wakes up, I will give him something nice when I meet him next time. Help him get stronger and gather powerful companions to fight against the impending danger. Destroy this dimension and create a new one for your convenience, as his Pokémons would be a disaster when left normally in the future. Till then, goodbye, old friend. Mew looked at Aoki and wondered. So he chose this human as the hero and savior. He looks more promising than the boy with the Pikachu that Ho-Oh and the world chose. Let's see who becomes the true hero. Destiny is a gift. Some go their entire lives, living existences of quiet desperation, never learning the truth that what feels as though a burden pushing down upon their shoulders is really a sense of purpose that lifts us to greater heights. Never forget that fear is but the precursor to valor, that to strive and triumph in the face of fear is what it means to be a hero. I hope that with you the world can become peaceful forever. Mew patted the shoulder of Darkrai and disappeared. Goodbye, Mew, we shall meet again, said Darkrai as he looked at Aoki, who was now completely healed but just unconscious. One by one he clicked Pokeballs and recalled everyone into their Pokeballs. He carried Aoki and started flying through the crack that had formed in the sky and reached the basement of Lavender Tower. Darkrai closed his eyes and spread his arms. The fog that had spread over a large distance started returning back into the body of Darkrai in the form of energy. What no one saw or sensed was a small black shadow-like figure having 2 glowing eyes that saw the entire exchange that took place. Things didn't go according to plan. Lord will be disappointed. As the space shattered and started to break apart, the small shadowy figure disappeared. Slowly every network and communication jam opened up and people started waking up. The nurses that were at their limit felt rejuvenated as the symptoms disappeared. Light from the moon fell on the face of an orange-haired girl through the window of the Pokémon Center. Slowly Misty opened her eyes and found herself in a hospital bed with her Pokémon surrounding her. I am fine now. You all can rest. Chapter 79, Lavender Town. Author note. I have read a lot of comments asking why I made certain things that way, why didn't I choose a specific Pokémon, or why did I do things a certain way. The answer is that I want it to be that way. I want the story to progress with the choices I made. My main reason for writing is to have fun. If I try to do things readers want me to do, I will stop having fun making it feel like a burden. I know I am not the best in grammar or knowing about Pokémon down to every detail. Even then, I try to make it as good as possible. I am not telling you to stop commenting, as it gives me tips to improve and encourages me. I am informing that I will not be changing things based on others' choices. I will do what is comfortable for me. Have a good day everyone. Darkness, complete darkness is what Aoki could see. Why is it so peaceful? Did I die? A lot of memories surfaced within his mind, with the last being after the explosion. I remember, something weird happened at the last moment as I felt connected with my companions. All of a sudden, the orbs of light started appearing within the darkness, which slowly started to fade and turn into different patterns. Aoki tried to grab the orbs of light but only managed to get hold of one, which started to bring a change. In the real world, Aoki slowly opened his eyes and found the upside-down statue of Giratina looking at him. Is this hell? Welcome back, human. Not, it is not hell. You are still alive, a familiar voice rang out, making Aoki look beside him. Darkrai was sitting there munching on a bag of chips. Beside him were more packets of chips and snacks that Aoki had recently bought. It's been centuries since I tasted human food. Munch. Munch. I have got to say I am impressed. Munch. We didn't have these in our time, said Darkrai as he emptied the whole packet before picking up another. Somehow the mythical Pokémon Darkrai eating chips was a little unsettling to see just after waking from a near-death situation. He was sure that something strange happened at the last moment, as he was sure that without that he would have died. Moreover, he was amazed and relieved to be alive after a battle with champion-level Pokémon. This was the battle that had pushed his mind to the limit, as he knew that a single good hit from Gengar was goodbye to his Pokémon. He looked beside him and found that his bag was in top condition along with the things he had minus some of the food items that Darkrai took. Don't worry about your companions, they are fine and resting in those Pokeball or whatever you call them. So can you explain what happened? I am pretty sure I should be dead by now, Aoki asked as he sat up with his body still in pain. Sure, why not, we are now companions from now after all, Darkrai said. Let's start with my introduction first. I am Incubus. It would be appreciated if you call me Darkrai, as I don't want to be called by the other one. I am Aoki Gunhilder, nice to meet you. As I have said earlier, I was a retainer of Lord Giratina and the first of my kind. We together started a war against the world for domination. A lot of things happened and I switched sides with only a few of my companions knowing. A lot of things happened that brought us to the current situation. After you weakened Gengar, Mew broke my confinement, so I killed Gengar and consumed the core that let him use the energy of chaos. So my injuries. Yes, they were healed by Mew. Although you managed to stay alive because you awakened your ability yourself at the last moment. Most of my memories are lost, but I have enough to guide you in that matter, as I have seen humans use this power to do wonders. Thanks, I guess. Aoki was not surprised that Mew appeared to help him, as his common knowledge had already started to crumble. I went out of my way to avoid Ash after knowing that he existed to avoid getting into unnecessary troubles and train in peace, but seems like all of them were flushed out after this incident. No more peaceful life, Aoki complained in his head. Now about the deal we made. I will abide by it and become your subordinate. Lavender Town. Morning. A small number of police forces and an old lady were questioning every person in the town about what was happening. The woman had curly light yellow hair that had started to turn white. She wore a purple dress and walked with a stick. Every police officer bowed to her when they saw her. It is similar to the ghost Pokémon Rampage incident years ago, but on a larger scale. I get that it was a full moon yesterday, but then too, thought the woman as she investigated more. Near the Pokémon Tower, a large black crater was formed, indicating a battle took place. Miss Joy, I leave the health of the people to you. I need to meet one old friend living in this town. He might know something. A group of nurses were looking after the people, ensuring that they were safe. Unfortunately, a lot of old people lost their lives in this incident. Fortunately, the fog receded in time, or else they estimated that every living thing in the area would have died. Was it a ritual of some sort, or someone messed up really bad and anger all the ghost Pokemon of the town? Was it Team Rocket? Chances are there, but don't seem like it. Then who solved the incident? She muttered. Sigh, I am too old for this, I want to retire. Hope that tournament will help. The old lady entered a medium-sized house and saw an old man feeding a baby Cubone while a lot of small Pokemons were sleeping beside him. Got to work as soon as you woke up, Hafuji, said the old woman as walked into the room and made herself comfortable. Long time no see, Agatha, said Fuji as he looked at the woman with a bit of a complex feeling. She was one of the Elite Four of the Kanto region who was known for ghost-type Pokemon, but that was not the reason for his complex feeling. Still worry of me, after all these years? Didn't I tell you I changed myself? I am a saint now, said Agatha laughing. Your laugh is still demonic as ever, Agatha. Fuji gave a light laugh. A girl around the age of 12 entered the room with 2 cups of tea and greeted Agatha. You have grown up, Melissa. The last time I saw you, you were 2 years old and started crying seeing me, Agatha said, picking up the cup. Agatha made small talk with Melissa and Fuji before getting into serious matters after sending Melissa away. Ghost Pokemon going on a rampage is a rare thing to see. You are here to investigate about that, don't you? Fuji said. Yes, ghost Pokemons don't go on a rampage daily, do they? Even if they did, it would be during the full moon, but not on this level that envelops 4 towns in dense fog, making everyone fall ill. Agatha said as she appeared to be in deep thought. Did you find something? Asked Fuji. Nothing interesting, the fog disappeared last night all of a sudden with the symptoms getting cured automatically. Do you know that the area under the fog was completely isolated from the world? As Agatha was explaining to Fuji what she found, the door unlocked and a handsome black-haired individual entered the house. Excuse me, if Dr. Fuji is here? Said the youth as he looked at the 2 people inside. Team Rocket Base. Today was a day of celebration as Team Rocket reached a major milestone. All members of Team Rocket were given 3 days of holiday, with the ones involved in the success lot of benefits. In an empty base, Team Rocket leader put down his tablet where the news about Lavender Town was displayed to look at the more interesting things. Giovanni looked through a glass wall at a bipedal Pokemon that was covered with metal armor having a showdown with an elite level Pokemon. On closer look, it can be said that the Pokemon in armor was playing with the elite Pokemon. The showdown had brought a huge smile to the face of Giovanni. Project Mewtwo is successful. We were able to make the strongest psychic Pokemon. What's left is now to collect more Zapdos DNA to build the control center and mind stabilizer. Giovanni had a huge grin on his face. With him under my control, I can expand my business all across the world and control the underworld. Mewtwo is already at peak elite rank after a few days of training, I just need to wait. A legendary Pokemon is made with the combination of the various psychic Pokemon, Kanto Legendary Bird Trio, Johto Dog Trio, Sinnoh Lake Trio, Lugia, and most importantly Mew. Amazing, isn't it, Professor Oak? Giovanni asked the person beside him who was watching the show with amazement. Indeed it is. Oak was one of the leading researchers in the Project Mewtwo that only Giovanni and some members knew about. He was the one who provided the DNA for Lugia, the Dog Trio, and the Bird Trio for the experiment. The DNA of Lugia was taken from an organization that Team Rocket destroyed in the Johto region. The Lake Trio DNA and various research materials were bought from an underground organization called Team Galactic of Sinnoh region, of which Nate was the son of the leader. Oak was one such person who would do anything for research as long as it didn't exceed his morale. He was only part of the Mewtwo project, so didn't participate in any other project of Team Rocket. He is someone who knows Giovanni for a long time, so he knows that Giovanni will never point his sword at him. Not just Oak, even the League has partnerships with Team Rocket in a lot of things, so it is almost impossible for Team Rocket to be rooted out of Kanto. Mewtwo now requires more experience in a short period of time. A Pokemon like Mew will not sit still if it got to know about it, Oak said. Don't worry, by the time I take him outside, he will be strong enough to take on anything. Chapter 80, Keystone. Well, if it isn't Professor Gunhilder, said Agatha with an amusing tone. She could sense the faint energy of ghost Pokemon on him, which belonged to a pretty strong Pokemon. It's my honor that you recognize me, Mrs. Agatha, Aoki said. Of course, I know you, that old fart Oak brags about you a lot, Agatha said, giving her infamous creepy laugh. I am going to have nightmares every time I hear a creepy laugh, Aoki thought. So let me guess this straight, you came to Lavender Town, beat up every ghost Pokemon with the strongest one being a Gengar, after which everything was fine, Agatha said as she repeated everything in short of what Aoki told. Something was not adding up. Aoki was making it appear as if nothing major happened. Are you messing with me, brat? Then where did the Gengar go and how did you even reach this town in the first place if the sense of direction was completely gone? Asked Agatha as a tick mark appeared on her head. Gengar, tell me if he is telling the truth or not, Agatha informed the Pokemon in her shadow through a mental link. Her eyes started glowing in a slight pink light too. Something inside Aoki made him aware of the changes that were happening around Agatha. She was a psychic. Why doesn't it surprise me? No wonder she became a ghost-type specialist. Aoki thought. Be careful of that woman, a deep voice rang inside his head. I know. I had an Azumarill with me to show me the direction. You know about them, right? He is telling the truth, a voice rang inside Agatha's head. Agatha, wondering how great the skills of the Azumarill were. How did you defeat so many ghost Pokemons? Especially Gengar. If such a wide phenomenon can occur, then Gengar would not be anything less than elite rank. My Pokemon are strong, you know. Although the Gengar gave a hard time, everything worked out in the end. Aoki, as if dealing with an elite-level Pokemon was a normal thing. Agatha narrowed her eyes and looked at Aoki's expressions closely. Was the giant crater outside your doing? Yes. What happened to the Gengar? Dead, I killed it. A large number of fainted ghost Pokemons were found in and around the Lavender Town when Agatha first arrived after receiving the news of the emergency. The ghost energy was very dense in the environment, making Agatha sure that a strong ghost-type Pokemon died. That energy would become nutrition for a lot of ghost Pokemon. Well, that's too bad, for the Gengar, I guess. Good job on this incident, Professor Gunhilder. I will talk to the League about your reward, said Agatha as she started to leave. I will be waiting for you in the Pokemon League, don't disappoint me. Agatha laughed as disappeared out of thin air. Seems like manipulating the environment a bit and a bit of energy of chaos did the work. Manipulating her memories was not possible as the Gengar in her shadows was stronger than me, said a deep voice into the mind of Aoki from the shadows. The crater and damage done outside was Darkrai's doing to make it as if a battle took place. That woman is one of the strongest trainers in this region, there is no way she will believe me so easily even after knowing my identity. Then how did you go undetected? Most Pokemon can't detect my presence unless I want, with some exceptions. That's good then. As Agatha left, Fuji sighed with relief. That woman still scared me to this date. You seem to have a good relationship with her, Dr. Fuji, Aoki said. We have known each other for a long time. She was rather known for her sadistic personality during her prime. Fuji gave a nervous laugh. Ah, the thing for which I came for. Can you please go to Ariel Town with me? The nurse there asked me to bring you there, Aoki said. You don't have to worry about that. I had talked with the Pokemon Center and confirmed that everyone has been healed from the symptoms and will heal completely with some medicines. Hearing this, Aoki was relieved as Misty was not replying back and the Pokemon Center number was currently engaged. I thank you on the behalf of all the citizens of Lavender Town, Aoki. If not for you, everyone in this town and around the town would have died. Fuji bowed to Aoki and said. I was doing what I had to do. Fuji seemed very interested to talk to Aoki after finding out about his identity. Back in the day I started my journey with the dream of becoming a researcher but became a doctor instead, Fuji said. Aoki saw that there were small beds around the room where some baby Pokemon like Oddish, Pidgey, Cubone, etc. were sleeping peacefully. I was glad that nothing happened to them. Aoki had heard some good things about Dr. Fuji's medical skills, so he asked for some tips which Fuji told him happily. As they were talking, one of the things kept in a glass showcase started glowing, attracting their attention. Aoki looked closely and saw that it was a gold ring with a circular stone embedded in it. Isn't that a keystone? What is that drive? Aoki asked. I found this beautiful stone many years back in an excavation site and made a ring out of it but never got the chance to use it. It sometimes randomly glows for a few seconds before turning to normal. For the first time, it has been glowing for so long. Interesting stone it is. If you don't mind, are you willing to sell it to me? I will give you an appropriate price, Aoki asked. You like the stone? Don't worry about the price, just take it as a gift from me. You saved the town after all. I will be glad to leave that stone if it's with someone like you. Fuji stood up and started to move some things off the showcase to take out the stone. There were a lot of degrees and pictures on display. Seems like you were quite a character in your prime, Dr. Fuji. Ha! Those were some days, I had to run all over Kanto from hospital to hospital as my demand was very high. Now I am just an old man that takes care of infant Pokemons and my granddaughter when my daughter and son-in-law are busy. Fuji cleaned the ring and bit and handed it to Aoki. Thank you for the gift, Dr. Fuji. I will take good care of it, said Aoki, wearing the ring. This ring is related to the thing that Gengar did, isn't it, Darkrai? Yes, we called it primal evolution. I will tell you everything I remember about it.
Thanks for listening.